𝓑𝓮 is frantically texting 𝓑𝓲𝓷𝓲𷷷 about the scandalous chaos unfolding right now. She is beyond livid. Her study session is a disaster. Those piercing, suggestive sounds are invading her sanctuary, shattering her focus. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 is even more outraged, reminding her this auditory nightmare has plagued her for 3 straight weeks. With exams looming like a death sentence, 𝓑𝓮 can't concentrate. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 brands the neighbor a heartless monster. Suddenly, the room goes silent. Curiosity kills her resolve. 𝓑𝓮 leans against the wall, heart hammering. She strains to catch a whisper, but what she hears sends a wave of heat straight to her face. Lost in those sinful thoughts, a sudden DM from 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 makes her jump. The notification sound is like thunder. She nearly faints, tossing her phone away. Suddenly, the door swings open. It is a woman with snacks. 𝓑𝓮's heart nearly stops again. The woman narrows her eyes, asking why she's acting like a guilty criminal. "Are you looking at something weird again?" she asks. 𝓑𝓮 knows she looks like a total degenerate. She fakes a phone call, claiming the person on the other end just screamed in her ear. The act is transparent. The woman accuses her of rotting her brain with boys love comics again. To save face, 𝓑𝓮 doubles down on the lie, claiming it is just 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷. Her mother remains unconvinced. Before the interrogation continues, 𝓑𝓮 bolts for the door, claiming she needs privacy for this important call. Her mother, weary of the lies, grants her 30 minutes. As the door clicks shut, she sighs in defeat. She wonders how a girl obsessed with distractions will ever survive the grueling path to becoming a lawyer. Outside, 𝓑𝓮 leans against the door, gasping for air. She just barely escaped a total social execution. If her mother knew she was eavesdropping on the neighbors' heated trysts, she would be disowned instantly. Shudders crawl down her spine at the thought of being caught. Then, another DM from 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 arrives. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 wants to confront the noisy neighbor personally, but 𝓑𝓮 begs her to let it go. She promises to ignore the sounds, trying to reclaim her peace. She steps outside to clear her head. Even nature is against her. The buzzing insects feel like a personal attack, louder than any neighbor. She tries to soak in the rare sunshine, but her mind drifts back to the mystery next door. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 thinks the sounds are the problem. But 𝓑𝓮 realizes the truth: the volume isn't even that high. The real issue is her own obsession. She can't stop herself from listening to every single breath. She leans too far over the balcony, losing herself in thought, until the neighbor himself steps out. Her heart stops. She slips, falling toward her certain doom, only for a strong arm to catch her. The brush with death leaves her breathless, but her eyes are locked onto the man's massive, solid chest. She lingers in his embrace, a toxic heat rising. He coldly asks if she can finally stand on her own. Flustered, she scrambles back and stammers an apology. Her mind is still reeling from his physical presence. His baggy clothes were a deception. Beneath them was a physique so ripped it should be illegal. She stares at him like a predator until the silence becomes heavy, right as a second man appears. A half-naked guy steps out of the neighbor's apartment, asking when the cold neighbor is coming back inside. 𝓑𝓮's world shatters. It wasn't a woman all this time, it was another man. As the two men speak intimately, 𝓑𝓮 struggles to process this new reality. He likes men too? The neighbor maintains his icy gaze, telling her to go inside before the cold bites her. She's frozen in shock when her phone rings. Before she can speak, 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷's voice explodes from the speaker. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 screams, demanding to know if 𝓑𝓮 went to confront the pervert neighbor alone. The neighbor freezes. Every word of the insult echoes in the quiet air, leaving 𝓑𝓮 mortified. She desperately tries to play dumb, but 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 is on a warpath and refuses to be silenced. 𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷 shouts louder, reminding 𝓑𝓮 that she called him a pervert who sleeps with different people daily. The accusation hangs in the hallway like a thick fog. The neighbor heard every single word of her judgment. 3 days of agonizing shame follow. 𝓑𝓮 sneaks in and out of her home like a fugitive. On the 4th day, she feels like a spy in her own hallway, until the elevator dings. Their eyes meet. The silence is deafening, heavy with the weight of her exposed secrets and his cold gaze. Tension crackled as 𝓑𝓮 offered a greeting, but her neighbor just lit a cigarette, his silence cutting deeper than any insult. Stung by his icy indifference, she felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her. Why wouldn't he even acknowledge her? Resolving to mirror his coldness, she headed to school. Then came the day she dreaded the release of her bar exam results. The sky wept with a relentless downpour. It was a day so frigid that the chill seemed to pierce her very soul. Seeking refuge from the biting wind, 𝓑𝓮 hid in a nearby playground, her heart as heavy as the storm clouds above. Suddenly, a shadow fell over her. Through the cascading rain, her mysterious neighbor approached, changing the course of her life forever. Hours earlier, she had sought shelter under a plastic slide, trying to escape the deluge that mirrored her internal chaos. She reached out to touch the falling rain, but the heavy droplets stung her skin like 1,000 tiny needles. Is Mom hurting like this too? She wondered. The memory of their bitter confrontation over the bar exam results resurfaced. Her mother had gripped her hand with desperate intensity, reminding 𝓑𝓵𝓮 of her prestigious honors from the National University. Don't be disappointed, her mother had pleaded, though her words felt less like comfort and more like a heavy burden. The true demand was clear. Her mother wanted her to graduate law school and secure a future as a prosecutor. That was the only path her mother envisioned. To 𝓑𝓵𝓮, every word felt like a sharp twist of a knife. A dark realization took root. Her mother didn't see her at all, only a replacement for the son she had lost. Am I just his ghost to you? 𝓑𝓵𝓮 cried out. Her mother stood frozen, stunned by the raw pain in her voice. With tears blurring her vision, she accused her mother of forcing her to live a life meant for a dead man. The weight of that truth left her mother speechless. Without looking back, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stormed out into the unforgiving rainy night. Outside, she spotted her enigmatic neighbor casually smoking. Their eyes met, and she scrambled to wipe away her tears. He was the last person she wanted to see her in such a broken state. Embarrassment flared hot in her chest. Then, for the first time, he spoke. His voice sent a jolt through her, making her heart race with agonizing intensity. Haunted by his words, she fled into the darkness. She ran blindly until she reached the playground, gasping for every breath. Shivering under the slide, the cold finally set in. She was completely drenched, her spirit as dampened as her clothes. She realized her puffy, red eyes would give away her misery to anyone who looked too closely at her. Huddled in her lonely sanctuary, she replayed the day's tragedies. But then, a sudden shadow loomed over her hiding spot. She looked up to find her neighbor staring down. His expression was a chilling mask of total, unreadable indifference. New tears threatened to fall. You startled me, she lied, desperately trying to hide her shattering emotional state from him. He said nothing, his silence heavy with unspoken judgment. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 gave up, letting her tears flow freely before him. Go ahead and laugh, she choked out. But instead of mockery, he simply stood there, a silent sentinel in the rain. He placed his umbrella over her, shielding her from the storm before walking away without a single word of comfort. That unexpected act of kindness left her stunned, trembling. She grabbed the umbrella and followed him back to the apartment. He led the way in silence, stopping only at her door before disappearing into his own home without a glance. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 froze at his threshold. Should she return the umbrella now, or wait? Her heart hammered against her ribs. It felt wrong to intrude on a stranger. Yet as she turned to leave, his voice drifted from the shadows inside. If you're not coming in, close the door, he stated flatly. It was a dangerous invitation. Fueled by a strange, irresistible curiosity, she stepped into his world. Inside, he was already busy drying his damp hair. He looked surprised that she actually followed him. His eyes swept over her soaked form, noting every shivering detail. I just came to return this, she stammered, holding the umbrella like a shield. She couldn't bring herself to go home. She begged for a towel, unable to face her own empty apartment yet. He sighed heavily, his gaze dark and intense. He tossed a towel her way, his movements rough, yet strangely careful. The living room is through there, he muttered. I don't care if you get the floor wet, he added, his voice dripping with a casual, magnetic kind of apathy. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 obeyed, stepping into his space. She hadn't expected his home to look so ordinary, yet so hauntingly lonely. But as she looked closer, she saw the truth. The room was a chaotic mess of empty bottles and discarded memories. Stiff laundry and clutter filled the air with a sense of stagnation. How long had he been living like this? A sudden wave of self-consciousness hit her. She didn't belong here, in this man's dark and messy reality. Clutching the towel, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 realized she had just walked straight into a dangerous lion's den. Drenched and trembling, 𝓑𝓵𝓮's resentment festers as she finally finds a place to sit. A discarded card catches her eye. She picks it up, sensing a hidden secret. The design is unmistakable. It is a prestigious identity card from Korea National University. Her cold-hearted neighbor was a medical elite. This man's shadow grows darker and deeper. Their worlds were separate then. Why is he treating his past like worthless trash? Seeing his prestigious identity card on the floor makes her own achievements feel meaningless. Hyo Jae-woo. The name tastes like bitter poison. A chilling memory begins stirring. She suppresses the dread. Jae-woo suddenly demands she wash up to avoid sickness. He carelessly hurls fresh clothes at her, his touch burning with a toxic intensity. His cruel kindness drives her insane. Is he her tormentor or her only refuge? Stepping inside the bathroom, she finally stares at the broken woman in the mirror. A cold shiver runs down her spine. Her damp clothes are now dangerously transparent, exposing her completely. She screams in a silent panic, certain that Jae-woo has seen far too much. Yet, He remains chillingly indifferent, acting as if nothing happened. While she spirals, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 finally realizes the devastating mistake she made. Since he kept quiet through the entire ordeal, she now views him as a low-life predator. She loathes herself for walking blindly into his minefield. She wonders if he is fueling a toxic obsession to claim her, but she firmly believes 𝓑𝓮 knows staying calm is her only shield. Yet, facing her cold-blooded ex, maintaining composure feels impossible. Mere caution isn't enough. She vows to avoid his eyes, terrified of the toxic sparks one look might ignite. Armed with resolve, she leaves the shower. Jae-woo waits in the shadows, his heavy presence suffocating the room. The air thickens with resentment. She reaches for a beer, desperate to numb the heart-racing tension he radiates. But a clumsy move betrays her. In a flash, she accidentally reveals a glimpse of her hidden feminine side. She clung to him, gasping as his hands found her throat. Fading into darkness, she wondered what she'd done to ignite this toxic fury. She tries to maintain her composure, but after a few beers, her ironclad resolve begins to shatter. Any sense of clarity vanishes as she gazes at Jae-woo, her eyes hazy with a drunken, dangerous longing. She is completely spiraling. Jae-woo realizes the alcohol has stripped away her inhibitions, leaving her raw and vulnerable. He snatches her drink, firmly declaring she's had enough. He offers comfort, but the atmosphere suddenly turns electric. Before he can react, she pins him down, screaming accusations about a failed exam he knows nothing about. Jae-woo is baffled. What exam? Why is she acting so reckless? He struggles to make sense of her fury. He demands she move, but she remains defiant, interrogating him about the dark, exciting secrets of his lifestyle. Is his life truly that thrilling? If so, she desperately wants him to drag her into his world. Still lost in her rambling, Jae-woo waits as she prepares to voice her deepest, most toxic resentments. She insults his playboy reputation and carefree ways, a move that finally breaks his cold, stoic exterior. In a heartbeat, the tables turn. Now he's the one on top, his dark gaze burning with predatory intent. 𝓑𝓮 lashes out with biting words, but Jae-woo coldly rebukes her for judging a man she barely even knows. With a chillingly composed stare, he warns 𝓑𝓮 that he has zero reason to endure her constant, suffocating judgment. He cruelly adds that if her life is such a disappointment, she should just leave, as no one is forcing her. His icy tone sends shivers down her spine, yet her resentment boils over, driving her to strike back with fury. She slams her fists against Jae-woo's chest, screaming that he knows nothing because he simply indulges in his every desire. Jae-woo counters, demanding she look around this hollow place and tell him if this looks like the home of a happy man. The suffocating silence stretches between them until Jae-woo finally snaps the tension with a dark, dangerous suggestion. Recalling her demand to see the pleasures of his lifestyle, he offers to give her a first-hand taste of his world. He leans in for a soul-stealing kiss. 𝓑𝓮 braces herself, heart racing, but he suddenly halts, his desire turning to regret. Disgusted by his own weakness, he barks at her to leave, cursing himself for even considering a woman like her. He tries to cast her aside, but 𝓑𝓮 desperately grips his shirt, pulling him back as shock flickers in his eyes. Her facade shatters alongside her jewelry. She screams at the cruel unfairness of her existence. Jae-woo watches the breakdown in shock. "Release me," he commands, but her misery holds him hostage. "Why stop now?" she demands. Why would he ruin himself for others but refuse her touch? Jae-woo plays the fool, his patience thin. "Let go of my clothes," he orders with icy breath. Tears flood her eyes again. "You only pity me," she screams. His mercy feels like a sentence. She admits she's a failure, yet her toxic obsession for him remains a burning, unquenchable fire. Her desperate pleas drive him insane. He's at his limit. "You're driving me absolutely mad." "You're fine as you are," he lies. "Just stop this sobbing and unhand my shirt right now." His words soothe her jagged soul. Suddenly, her eyes spark. "Do you want to be with me?" He thought he'd finally escaped. To silence her, he yields. "Yes, but not today," he lies. The delay tastes like ash. "Liar," she shrieks. His hollow excuses only deepen her emotional wounds. As the air thickens with desire, Jae-woo tries to resist. He warns her not to do something she will regret. But her desperation shatters his cold resolve. He yields, but warns her not to come crying when the regret hits. Stripping down, he looms with lethal intent. He issues a final, cold warning to her resentful heart. She misinterprets his dark obsession for mercy. He has denied her 1,000 times already. He fought his inner demons with cold restraint, but eventually, his resolve crumbled, granting her the dangerous intimacy she truly desired. Trapped by the night, 𝓑𝓮 yields. Dawn finds Jae-woo lingering at the door, watching his prey depart into the light. She offers to return his clothes, clinging to one last excuse. But Jae-woo cuts the cord with cold, sharp indifference. Keep them or burn them. His lack of care is a cruel sting, leaving her burning with a bitter, frustrated resentment. Fine, I'll do exactly that. She bites back her thanks, but the words vanish as a familiar, chilling voice calls out. Her mother stands there, paralyzed. Horror paints her face as she catches 𝓑𝓵𝓮 emerging from the lion's den so early. Caught in the neighbor's unit, 𝓑𝓵's frantic excuses are silenced by her mother's cold reminder of her debt. 𝓑𝓵 lied about staying at 𝓑𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, but her web of deception is already spiraling into a total disaster. To stop the bleeding, she frantically hides her clothes, but her mother's fury explodes. Have you finally lost your mind? Jae-woo watches the storm unfold with cold indifference until the mother turns her sharp, poisonous gaze directly toward him. She demands to know who this stranger is and why he dared to spend the night alone with her precious daughter. Fearing the worst, 𝓑𝓵 desperately interjects, pleading for her mother to listen before the misunderstanding turns into a lethal confrontation. Once she is allowed to speak, 𝓑𝓵 claims he was a savior who rescued her while she sat abandoned in the rain. Suspicion lingers as her mother questions why he took her to his private sanctuary when her house was just steps away. She demands to know if they are lovers, and Jae-woo drops a bombshell that shatters the silence. Yes, we are dating. A suffocating silence chokes the hallway, leaving 𝓑𝓵 paralyzed in disbelief while her mother stands there in absolute, frozen shock. Since they just moved in, this reckless lie was the last thing 𝓑𝓵 expected from a man as cold as him. Thinking fast, she doubles down on the lie, claiming they were actually old schoolmates who shared a deep, hidden history. Even if their majors differed, she insists he is her boyfriend, dragging him deeper into this web of irresistible, dangerous lies. Her mother stares at his scruffy face and holey shorts, unable to believe this messy man attended the prestigious Korea National University. 𝓑𝓵 raises the stakes, claiming he even attended medical school, a shocking lie that leaves even 𝓑𝓵 herself feeling breathless. The prestigious lie works, and her mother finally relents, but not without issuing a chilling warning to send her home immediately. She warns that even if they are lovers, she won't tolerate her daughter spending nights at a boyfriend's place this early. Jae-woo plays the part perfectly, bowing his head in a deceptive apology that masks the dark chemistry brewing between them. His smooth apology finally cools the boiling tension, though the air between them still crackles with a toxic, unspoken resentment. Desperate to pull her mother away from Jae-woo's intoxicating presence, 𝓑𝓵 offers to help with the trash as they exit. Her mother's parting words are a chilling promise. They will continue this interrogation the moment they step back inside their home. 𝓑𝓵 barely hears her mother. Her eyes are locked on Jae-woo as she whispers a burning promise to repay him later. Jae-woo's cold response is a jagged blade. Don't worry about it. Just get lost. The toxic push-pull has only just begun. As his mother departs, Jae-woo lights a cigarette, his cold gaze following the path of the retreating storm. The air is clear now, but he swears a ruthless vow never again will he harbor a stray within his walls. He managed to escape the heat, but 𝓑𝓵 is still in the line of fire. Time to beg for forgiveness. Home at last, but the atmosphere is chilling. Her mother's icy silence feels like the calm before a devastating storm. She braces for a physical blow, expecting a harsh lesson. Instead, her mother chooses a serious talk over a strike. The rain from yesterday still stings. Her mother reveals the sheer terror of searching for a daughter who wouldn't answer. Driven by panic, her mother scoured the neighborhood like a woman possessed, fearing the absolute worst had finally happened. Haunted by thoughts of a tragic accident, she finally broke. Guilt washes over 𝓑𝓵 as she offers a soft apology. She spins a tale about 𝓑𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 place, claiming the heavy downpour trapped her there, a fragile excuse for a scandalous night. Her mother's rage flares up, but as the scolding begins, a painful memory from yesterday stops her dead in her tracks. She remembers 𝓑𝓵's scream, the accusation of being a replacement for her late brother. The wound still bleeds for them both. The fire dies out. Her mother calls a truce, the heavy weight of their shared trauma silencing the rising anger. Go change, she commands. Then comes a peace offering, the soy-marinated crab her father specially bought for his daughter. A small victory. 𝓑𝓵 celebrates her favorite meal, retreating to her room before the emotional exhaustion finally takes its toll. Collapsing onto her bed, the memories flood back. That humiliating moment her mother caught her leaving Jae-woo's secret sanctuary. Then there was Jae-woo's bold lie, claiming they were dating without a single flicker of hesitation in his cold eyes. But the night held a deeper secret. She remembers waking in the darkness after their heated, soul-stirring, intimate encounter. There he was, casually drinking milk. He offers her some, but her mind is spinning with a question she can't ignore. Are we in a relationship? Jae-woo's reaction is anything but romantic, as he literally chokes on his drink in shock. Reality check. Crossing the line doesn't mean they're exclusive. He sets that boundary immediately, leaving no room for hope. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 masks her hurt with pride. She agrees, claiming she'd never date a man like him. The feeling is mutual. Her long-awaited first time. Wasted on an inconsiderate jerk. She curses her own impulsive heart for falling into his trap. Jayu only hears one thing: it was her first. The revelation hits him hard, completely shattering his cool composure. "Don't flatter yourself," she snaps. She isn't the type to cling just because he took her innocence. Or so she says. Jayu spirals into a total panic, desperately demanding to know exactly how old she really is. He is losing his cool. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stands her ground, insisting she won't be a burden despite the growing tension. "You're just a mister to me," she retorts. "His age doesn't matter because this was just a mistake, right?" Jayu is visibly shaken. Being called mister by this girl clearly bruised his ego more than any physical blow could. The age gap must be massive. Why else would a man like him get so offended by a simple title? His cool exterior finally cracks. But 𝓑𝓵𝓮 ignores him, moving toward the next room where her mother waits. The atmosphere turns surreal. Something is wrong. Her mother's voice drips with a newfound, chilling suspicion that feels like a trap. "Did you sleep with that pervert after failing your exam?" The question cuts through the air like a jagged blade. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 tries to explain, her heart racing. But in this twisted reality, her mother refuses to hear any desperate lies. "I heard everything through the wall," the accusation echoes, stripping away her dignity in one fell swoop. Suddenly, a scream shatters the world. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 jolts awake, gasping for air. It was all just a cruel, guilt-ridden nightmare, a toxic blend of memory and regret. Her mother stands over her, concerned by the daughter who woke up screaming. "Was it a nightmare?" her mother asks. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 denies it, her skin still crawling from the vivid images of her secret. Still trembling, she notices the gift in her mother's hands. "What is that?" she asks, trying to ground herself. "It's the crab." Her mother gives a shocking order. "Deliver this directly to that man next door." Fate is a cruel mistress. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stands before his door, facing the very person she vowed to never see again. Her mother wants to play nice, using food as an apology. If only she knew the truth about their night. Apologize to him? After that blatant lie? The resentment burns, making this delivery feel like a total insult. Giving him a delicacy feels like a reward for manipulation. What words can she even use in this situation? Should she thank him for the lie or mock his performance? Every option feels like a trap for her heart. Frustration boils over. She bangs her head against the door, a silent scream of agony in this ridiculous predicament. Thud, the sound echoes. "Who is there?" Jayu's voice rings out. Panic strikes her like a bolt of lightning. "Abandon ship!" She drops the gift at his threshold and sprints away, a coward fleeing from the man she cannot escape. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 fumbles her escape, trapped by a single mistake. Suddenly, the door creaks open, revealing a pair of small feet. She looks up, breathless, only to find a little girl staring back. The child freezes, wide-eyed with innocent curiosity. "Who are you?" the girl whispers. Before 𝓑𝓵𝓮 can answer, the child calls out, seeking her father's protection. "Daddy, someone is here!" Little 𝓛𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 voice rings out, and her father's stern warning echoes through the hallway. He told her not to open the door for strangers, but fate is cruel. Her father is none other than Jayu. Clad in a domestic apron, Jayu stands frozen. 𝓑𝓵𝓮's world shatters as the little girl clings tightly to his leg. Now, seated at his table, the atmosphere is suffocating. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stares at the man who left her with such wounds. "I didn't realize you were off the market," she spits bitterly, a statement that leaves the young child completely baffled. "What market, Daddy?" the girl asks, her innocence acting as a shield against the toxic tension between the two adults. Jae-woo coldly orders little 𝓑𝓮 to her room. Though reluctant, the girl leaves, finally clearing the stage for the storm about to break between them. "Have you finally lost your mind?" Jae-woo snarls. But 𝓑𝓮 refuses to be silenced anymore, her bottled-up resentment finally exploding in a torrent of jagged words. She exposes his sins, accusing him of adultery and every dark, shady secret he's hidden. Jae-woo's mask cracks as he demands to know what other madness she's conjuring. He scoffs, blaming her for always seeing him as a monster. Yet, her venomous words linger, sparking a dark, calculated thought in the depths of his cold heart. Suddenly, Jae-woo seizes her wrist in a vice-like grip. He drags her ruthlessly into a room, throwing her down onto a ragged bed as their toxic tension finally reaches its breaking point. Dismissing her frantic pleas regarding the toddler, Jae-woo advances. His dark magnetism battles her deep-seated fury in a dangerously addictive, toxic encounter. He growls that his skin-to-skin contact carries a steep price. Within moments, heavy breathing fills the air, signaling their obsessive push-pull ritual. Tempting echoes pull the little one closer. Witnessing that forbidden sight, she snaps, violently kicking the chamber entrance wide in a jealous tantrum. She shrieks that her father is being selfish, demanding her own turn. Jae-woo's response is a cold, hollow stare of absolute, soul-crushing authority. With a frozen gaze, he reiterates his command to stay away. Ignoring the child, he refocuses on 𝓑𝓮, his eyes burning with renewed obsession. He mocks her, asking if she finally understands. Those haunting sounds were his doing. The man she loathes was always watching from the shadows. That deep massage shattered her preconceived notions about this enigmatic, dangerous man. Soul's pleading for a game of doctor finally breaks Jae-woo's cold, stoic facade. He demands 𝓑𝓮 play the patient and lie back, asserting his absolute dominance. Soul vanishes to fetch supplies, leaving 𝓑𝓮 trapped in Jae-woo's suffocating presence. She questions his intent, but he calls this petty revenge for her previous insult. Resentful yet curious, 𝓑𝓮 lies down, awaiting the father and daughter's next move. Jae-woo assumes a surgeon's lethal focus, while Little Soul plays his devoted assistant. The air grows heavy as he announces the start of a delicate ocular surgery. Though uncomfortable, she's paralyzed by the irresistible, toxic tension radiating from him. The procedure ends with a cruel diagnosis. She has officially lost her sight. She panics within the roleplay, screaming at the sheer absurdity of his medical play. Jae-woo removes the blindfold and dismisses her with a cold, heartless finality. As he turns to leave, she bites her lip and asks if he's truly married. He strikes back with a question, demanding to know how she stalked his past. She confesses to finding his old identity card, uncovering the secrets he tried to bury. He leans in, asking if he looks like a man bound by a wedding ring. Since Soul is clearly his daughter, 𝓑𝓮 assumes he belongs to another woman. He nonchalantly tells her to keep guessing, mocking her talent for making wrong assumptions. Driven by a strange obsession, she refuses to let him escape without a real answer. She demands clarity, terrified of being seen as the woman he's cheating with. Jae-woo scoffs, reminding her that no one would ever mistake her for his wife. When she mentions the word divorce, a chilling, suffocating silence fills the entire room. 𝓑𝓮's heart sinks as she realizes she's crossed a dangerous line. Mentioning Jae-woo's late wife was a devastating mistake. Panicked, she stammers an apology. Jae-woo's face remains a mask of cold indifference. He dismisses her prying and heads for the exit. 𝓑𝓮 curses her own impulsive, reckless tongue. Just as Jae-woo swings the door open to leave, he's met with a startling sight. Shinwoo is standing there, pointing a phone directly at him. "My mother demands to speak with you," she declares with a sharp gaze. Jae-woo silently takes the device, the tension in the room becoming suffocating. The woman's voice crackles through the speaker, calling Jae-woo absolutely insane. 𝓑𝓮 secretly agrees, feeling the weight of his dark and dangerous aura. Their cryptic conversation remains a mystery as the scene shifts. Days later, 𝓑𝓮 is found buried under heavy textbooks at the university library. Instead of studying, she's lost in a weary daze until her friend 𝓑𝓵 startles her awake. She grumbles, her heart still racing from the sudden shock. He coaxes her outside for some fresh air to clear her mind. Under the open sky, she finally spills the scandalous truth to her friend. 𝓑𝓵 freezes in absolute shock as she reveals Jae-woo's marital status. His eyes widen as the realization of her toxic situation finally sinks in. 𝓑𝓮 desperately tries to quiet his outburst, but 𝓑𝓵 isn't having it. He scolds her for being so reckless and losing her moral senses. He warns her not to spiral just because of one failed exam. She insists she had no idea the man was a married father before. The crushing truth only surfaced after the deed was already done. She recalls the chilling moment Jae-woo's wife screamed at him through the phone. Overwhelmed by intense guilt and discomfort, she had fled the scene immediately. 𝓑𝓵 falls into a heavy, contemplative silence at her shocking confession. He suddenly asks about the legal punishment for committing adultery. Fortunately for her, those archaic laws were scrapped by the government years ago. Even if the law still existed, she explains the technicalities. A second party is only liable if they knew the partner's marital status beforehand. Intent is everything in the eyes of the law. 𝓑𝓵 suggests that this revelation should make cutting ties with Jae-woo much easier now. He warns her to never cross that line with him again. She outwardly agrees, but a strange shadow of hesitation lingers in her eyes. 𝓑𝓵 notices her lingering gloom and asks why she looks so disappointed. 𝓑𝓮 instantly denies it, masking her internal conflict with sharp irritation. She insists she's finished with Jae-woo, especially since his age remains a mystery. She claims the unknown age gap is a total deal-breaker. 𝓑𝓵 calls her out, remembering her long-standing obsession with older men. This strikes a nerve, causing 𝓑𝓮 to snap in defensive, heated frustration. She throws a fit, screaming that her love for older men only applies to fictional characters. Real-life men are a completely different and difficult story. She goes on a passionate rant about the vast divide between two-dimensional fantasies and the messy, painful complications of real-life people. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 wisely backs down and apologizes to keep the peace. He then pivots, asking about the brewing storm between her and her demanding mother. She brushes him off with a cold, clipped response. They fought, they reconciled, and she refuses to elaborate further on her emotional wounds. Her icy tone tells a different story. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 senses her hidden pain and asks if she's just putting on a brave face to survive. 𝓑𝓮 shuts him down immediately, refusing to open old wounds. She claims her only priority now is passing the upcoming brutal law school exam. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 thinks the pressure is insane. She graduated at the top of her class at KNU, yet her mother still demands more perfection. He argues that her mother should finally be satisfied and stop suffocating her with the demand to attend the elite KNU law school. If her dream is to become a prosecutor, the name of the school shouldn't matter. But in her family, status is a cruel obsession. 𝓑𝓮 sighs, explaining it's the heavy burden of her mother's bloodline. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 knows all about her high-achieving, prestigious, and intimidating uncles. One is a powerful superintendent, and the other a prestigious judge. They are all elite KNU alumni who expect her to follow suit. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 argues that she shouldn't be measured by their outdated standards. He even points out that her mother isn't some elite big shot herself. It's unfair for her to project such impossible expectations onto 𝓑𝓮. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 makes a fair point, but he's missing the truly darker truth. 𝓑𝓮 corrects him with a hollow look in her eyes. It's not the uncles she's compared to, it's the ghost of her brilliant brother. She's certain her brother would have eclipsed all their uncles by now. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 tries to offer a more grounded and skeptical perspective. 𝓑𝓮 admits they'll never know his true potential, which is exactly why she's being driven to the brink of academic madness. Every ounce of pressure feels like she's desperately trying to outrun a ghost. It is a race she is doomed to never win. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 tries to lighten the mood, joking that nobody can catch a ghost given their supernatural speed. 𝓑𝓮 remains stone-faced and silent. The joke is in poor taste. They're talking about her dead brother, after all. Sensing her rising anger, 𝓑𝓵𝓪 quickly tries to pivot. He launches into a bizarre, scientific lecture about Earth's rotation and the solar system. He theorizes that ghosts must be incredibly overpowered beings. Since gravity doesn't apply to them, they're essentially gods. His ridiculous logic finally breaks her cold exterior and gets her laughing again. 𝓑𝓵𝓪's mission to cheer her up is a success. He seals the deal by offering to treat her to a well-deserved, hot lunch. 𝓑𝓮's eyes light up, immediately suggesting expensive beef. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 quickly suggests pork as the healthier and much more affordable alternative. She flatly refuses, insisting she's in the mood for something deliciously unhealthy. As they stroll away together, the mood suddenly shifts. A sinister figure lurks in the shadows, silently exhaling a cloud of smoke. Once they vanish from sight, the mysterious man begins to move. Shadows flicker as 𝓑𝓵𝓪 and 𝓑𝓮 return, their casual thanks masking deep, simmering tension. Her dreams of a home together are met by his cold, suffocating wall of silence. Suddenly, a shock of familiar sky-blue hair shatters her wandering thoughts like broken glass. The truth finally dawns on her. This child is Jae-woo's daughter. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 is lost, but 𝓑𝓮 spots a threat. A mysterious man ushers Seoul toward a car with dark windows. 𝓑𝓮 charges forward, her heart racing with fear. She bolts across the street, screaming insults that leave 𝓑𝓵𝓪 speechless. Her only focus is rescuing the terrified girl. In her blind panic, she nearly ends up under a car. 𝓑𝓵𝓪's quick reflexes save her as she screams. She throws herself between Seoul and the stranger. With fire in her eyes, she demands to know his identity. She accuses him of kidnapping in broad daylight, but when she asks Seoul, the girl silently shakes her head. 𝓑𝓮 snaps. She warns the man that kidnapping a minor carries a heavy 10-year prison sentence. One wrong move and she is calling the police. The man looks annoyed as he tries to explain himself. He swears he is not a villain despite his shady appearance. But his words fall on deaf ears today. As he steps toward 𝓑𝓮, 𝓑𝓵𝓪 intervenes. He pins the man's hand down before he can even blink. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 delivers a cold warning. If he touches the girls, he is leaving with a broken hand. The man scoffs, calling it a bluff. Meanwhile, 𝓑𝓮 scans the area, calculating their chances of escape. They are outnumbered. The stranger has a man in glasses and another accomplice waiting in the car. But fortune favors them. With 𝓑𝓵𝓪 by her side and a crowd gathering, 𝓑𝓮 feels a surge of hope. Still, she does not take chances and dials 911. The whispers of the onlookers finally force his hand. He retreats with a fake apology, claiming he never meant to cause a scene. He promises to stay back. He insists he was not trying to snatch her. But 𝓑𝓮 is not buying a single word of it. She demands the truth. Why was he dragging Seoul away? She keeps her finger hovering over the call button. If he does not talk now, the police will do it for him. Sensing her resolve, he finally speaks. "I am her father," he declares. 𝓑𝓮 freezes, her thumb sliding off the screen in pure shock. He smiles at the girl, but Seoul only cowers deeper behind Ҳрang. The tension is absolutely suffocating. They are skeptical, but Ҳrang notices it. The man and Seoul share the exact same striking hair color. She asks Seoul one more time. The girl repeats she has never seen him. The man looks wounded. Ҳrang tells him to drop the act. If the child does not know him, he is a total stranger. As more people stop to stare, the self-proclaimed father realizes this is not the place for a reunion. He promises to see them again soon, telling Seoul to be more polite next time. Then, he moves. He slips a card into Ҳrang's pocket before vanishing. Ҳrang watches him leave with a heavy heart. "Do you have a death wish?" she snaps. But her defiance only makes the man smile. He finds her fascinating. Once the danger passes, she checks on Seoul. The girl is physically fine, but the damage is already done. The gossip of the crowd breaks Seoul's spirit. She bursts into tears, and 𝓑𝓵𝓪 quickly whisks her away. Later, they escape the noise. While they discuss the mysterious car, Seoul suddenly spots a familiar face. "Jae-woo," she cries out. The cold, powerful man is stunned as the little girl lunges into his arms. Masking his emotions, Jae-woo lifts her up and demands an explanation. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 watches him with deep suspicion. He remembers �rang's warnings. Can they truly trust this man? Is he really the father he claims to be? In this tangled web of lies, trust is a luxury. �rang tells 𝓑𝓵𝓪 to head home for now. She promises to keep him updated. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 hesitates, making her swear to call if things turn south. "We need to talk," she whispers to Jae-woo. They head back to his place, the air thick with tension. Once Seoul is asleep, Jae-woo turns to her, demanding the story. But �rang has her own question. "Is she really yours?" she asks. Her heart pounds as she stares into those cold, dark eyes. After a heavy silence, Jae-woo finally confirms his blood connection. He demands to know why, she asked. Trembling with resentment and an unwanted spark, she recounts the entire terrifying encounter to her powerful ex. Rage flickers in Jae-woo's eyes. He makes a call, his voice dripping with venom as he hunts answers. He roars at his staff for their negligence. Meanwhile, �rang is haunted by a different mystery altogether. She pulls the stranger's card from her pocket. She expected a name, but the truth is much stranger. It simply says Victoria. Is it a woman, a company, or a nightmare she cannot escape? Her eyes trace the blank card, a riddle without an answer. Nearby, Jae-woo's voice drops to a frantic whisper. He begs the caller to save the trembling soul. �rang remains oblivious as the line goes dead. Does this paper hold a secret hologram or a hidden curse? Jae-woo's sharp gaze catches her prying. He demands answers, but she tucks the secret away instantly. A heavy silence falls as his eyes bore into hers. He waits for a confession that never comes. Then, his gratitude breaks the tension like a physical weight. His hand settles on her shoulder, warm and dangerously familiar. That casual touch sends a jolt of resentment through her. Is he playing games? No. His gentle gestures are far worse. He is patronizing her like a child. "Enough," she snaps, shoving his hand away in a fit of pique. Suddenly, violent thuds echo against the door. Jae-woo storms toward the noise, his patience thin. "Don't you dare break the wall," he growls at the intruder. The chaos rouses little Seoul from her sleep. A single word shatters the air. "Mommy?" Panic surges through �rang like ice water. She is an intruder in a scene she was never meant to witness. "Why the disguise, 𝓛𝓮?" Jae-woo asks, his voice laced with irony. "Did she rush here straight from the spotlight?" "I told you never to use that name," 𝓛𝓮 hisses. Her golden mask is slipping, revealing the fire beneath. The star's focus shifts. She demands to see Seoul's savior. Jae-woo gestures toward the room, but the bird has flown. "The girl is gone!" Jae-woo finds her cowering in the shadows, heart hammering against her ribs. "What are you doing back here?" he asks, confused. "Shut up," she pleads, her finger pressed to her lips. Is he insane? Introduce her now? The absurdity of this toxic reunion makes �rang's head spin. Her desperate whispers fall on deaf ears. "Speak up," he demands, fueling her growing irritation and dread. Too late. The actress locks eyes with her prey. She rushes forward, tears of gratitude shining in her eyes. She isn't in danger, but the guilt feels like a noose. Her past with Jae-woo haunts every breath she takes. 𝓛𝓮, the 32-year-old icon known as Lee Byul, a tragic past revealed on national television. Abandoned and raised by her grandmother, her story gripped the nation. Her exotic beauty became a shield for her pain. Her kindness is legendary, even to the lowest staff. They call her the nation's granddaughter, a perfect idol. But behind the radiant smile lies a scandalous secret. Little Seoul is the child the world can never know. Fans sense the melancholy lurking in her eyes. Yet, she stands alone against the industry's harsh glare. Her only weakness is the child she keeps in the dark. Fame is a cage, and her daughter is the key. 𝓑𝓵 watches them leave, a bitter taste in her mouth. Can a child truly thrive in the shadow of a star? Gonna sell my secrets to the tabloids? Jae-woo teases. If the price is right, she retorts, sharp and cold. She offers a jagged smile, proving it was just a joke. Come inside, he invites. Let's drown our regrets. Keep her secret, he warns, the playfulness vanishing. She nods, understanding the high stakes of their toxic game. If you see that thug again, tell me, he commands. His overprotective streak is both suffocating and electric. Who is he to you? She presses, seeking the truth. I can't say, he whispers, his eyes darkening with secrets. Fine, keep your secrets. I owe you one, he says. Anything you desire is yours. She remembers Jungga's praise, a goddess acknowledging a mortal. The death of a superstar is a heavy burden to carry. Jan will handle everything for me, the actress had promised. He is the fixer, the man who cleans up every mess. Celebrities really do have a divine glow, she muses. So, are we buddies now? She mocks, testing his limits. We look like a married couple, she jokes, her heart racing. Do we? He leans in, his breath hot against her skin. Or maybe your bitter ex-wife? She counters, pushing him back. He laughs. A prosecutor with such a wild imagination? Their contrasting looks prove they share no blood. Yet, the bond between them feels ancient and inescapable. Soul is mine, he insists, claiming his bloodline. Then where is the woman who birthed her? 𝓑𝓵 asks. A dark smirk plays on his lips. You finally hit the mark, detective, he muses, eyes gleaming. Divorced again, she sneers. We just live apart, he replies. She decides it's time to claim her prize. Let me tell my mother we're dating, she proposes. It's a childish lie, but it keeps him close to her. She actually likes you, she admits, feeling the sting of irony. Because of my prestigious degree, he scoffs. Her mother worships status and power above all else. And what about you? He asks. Does it matter to you? Intimacy isn't the priority. She denies his guess with a cold, distant look. Laughter is what she craves. True happiness that lingers long after the night ends. He mocks her past loves. Was your first crush just some cheap comedian? She plays along briefly. He needles her for forgetting her first time. He blames her clumsy past. Since he can't fix love, he'll fix her memory. She wonders if he's insane. His offer is scandalous, yet her heart races. Walk away then, he dares. But she grabs him, trapped by her own curiosity. Can she do this sober? The temptation is toxic, a pull she can't resist. Memory is a faded blur. Only a phantom sensation of heat remains behind. He claimed he didn't care. It wasn't his business. Yet he's right here. She blames the alcohol. Was that pleasure real? Or just a fever dream? His voice breaks the silence. Did you drown in there? He snaps impatiently. She marches out, determined. This isn't love, it's just a performance review. She peeks at him nervously. He stares back, unimpressed by her hesitation. She bites back with venom. You could have been productive instead of lurking there. The room is pristine. His obsession with order masks the chaos inside. It's not a total wreck. He suddenly seizes her, his touch burning her skin. He scolds her for germs, a cold, clinical warning that masks his true intent. The air thickens with tension. He smirks, leaning close. Then, the world vanishes. She feels like a toy, frustrated that his touch is so dangerously perfect. Is this a 30-year-old's mastery? His skill is infuriating, leaving her completely broken. At least he's not incompetent. She prepares her lies for the morning after. He was just a stranger. A neighbor? Nothing more. The truth stays buried. He enters, eyes narrowed. Is she faking sleep? He lies beside her anyway. The silence is suffocating. Her pillow is gone, claimed by her cold captor. The day's wait crashes. Don't cry, the driver says. Soul is finally safe. Tomorrow is for the cameras. Puffy eyes are a luxury she can't afford. She screams in desperation. Only soul matters now. Fame means absolutely nothing. Every missed call is a sin. I'm a failure, she weeps. A terrible mother. The driver offers hollow comfort. Beauty was her mother's gift. Now it's ash. She clings to her child. Soul's tiny heartbeat is the only rhythm left. I'm sorry I was late. Fear clutched her throat. But Soul just smiles. A superhero saved me, Soul chirps. But you're Wonder Woman, my real hero. I'll be there first, always. Soul's forgiveness is a knife to her heart. Just show up, Soul whispers. A simple request for a love so fractured. Zucchini and eggs, please. A small joy in a world of giants. Stop acting cute, Mom. A rare moment of peace amidst the gathering storm. She watches her daughter drift. Then, a sharp beep. Reality intrudes once more. 𝓛𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 returns with fire. Why so early? The interrogation begins immediately. A sharp blow to the arm. Era's tears fall before the first word. Where were you? The phone was silent while Seoul waited all alone. Work was the excuse again. A presentation mattered more than a daughter's safety. Money is your only god. You don't care for us. The bitter accusation flies. Go live with your boss. Obsessed with the chase, blind to the cost. Don't say things you'll regret. Your clinginess was a cage I had to escape. She snaps, blaming Era's hot-headedness for the chaos. She demands logic, not another pathetic emotional outburst. Get to the point, she growls. Nearby, Seoul whimpers in her sleep, haunted by a lingering trauma. The child clutches her toy, tears staining her cheeks. Joa whispers comforts, promising they'll try again. In a haze, Seoul mumbles about starting over. He watches her, annoyed by how much attention she demands. Suddenly, she tumbles off the bed, hitting the floor. The impact snaps her back to the harsh reality. Disoriented, she wonders if she spoke her secrets aloud. He just scoffs, calling her words utter nonsense. A crashing sound erupts downstairs. Her mother's voice drips with venom, questioning her father's pathetic attitude. She sacrificed everything for him, only to be treated like trash. The resentment in the air is suffocating. He dismisses her pain as a wife's duty. It's a cold, sharp slap to her years of devotion. She lists her endless burdens, the house, the kids, the thankless labor. Not a single second of peace. Try my life for once, she dares. See if you can handle even half of this misery. He admits it's hard, yet hides behind traditional roles. The divide between them feels like an abyss. The children tremble in the shadows. Her brother holds her tight, trying to shield her from the storm. Are they divorcing? She whispers. Suddenly, she collapses, the weight of the memory pulling her down. She blinks on the floor, confused, heart racing. She sneaks past the silence of the living room. She opens her door with trembling hands, praying it won't creak, just as she thinks she's safe. Her mother's voice cuts through the dark. She lies instantly, claiming she already ate with her friend. A sharp scold follows, then a cold command to rest. The tension in the house is a physical weight. Relieved her secret remains safe, her mind suddenly drifts to 𝓑𝓵. She's been ignoring the world. She calls her friend, frantic for an update. 𝓑𝓵's voice is calm, assuring her that everything is fine. She bites back the truth about 𝓠𝓞. Some secrets are too dangerous to share with anyone. 𝓑𝓵 mentions he's married with a child. There's no reason to be jealous of a man like him. I have zero interest, she lies. Yet, the memory of them crossing the line burns her skin. He's divorced, she blurts out. 𝓑𝓵 asks about the girl, hearing how the mother took her away. Poor kid, 𝓑𝓵 sighs. She saw the terror in the girl's eyes, a silent plea for help. For a child, parents are the entire universe. This separation must feel like the world is ending. She imagines the girl's shattered heart. Even while hurting herself, she tries to maintain her cold mask. She was too overwhelmed by her own chaos. She hadn't even considered the child's devastating pain. 𝓑𝓵 probes for details on her distress. Everything was moving too fast, spiraling out of her control. She cuts the call short, promising to meet tomorrow. She needs to escape these suffocating thoughts. The phone goes silent, but her friend's question lingers. What exactly made her lose her mind? Visions of 𝓠𝓞 flood her mind. She cringes at her own weakness, hating how he affects her. He's nothing like she imagined, darker and colder. Meanwhile, 𝓠𝓞 drinks alone, his irritation mounting. Why is he thinking of her now? He shakes his head, trying to erase her from his soul. He remembers her fall and that desperate cry. Suddenly, she appears on the balcony, surprising him. Littering is a crime, she taunts. He smirks, taking the ashtray she offers with a mocking grace. He questions her kindness to a stranger. She reminds him they've shared much more than just names. Let's just be neighbors, he counters coldly. He has no intention of falling for her traps. You're not my type anyway, she snaps back. He keeps the ashtray, claiming it as his own. She threatens to report him next time. He offers a hollow thanks for helping his daughter. She storms inside, his words echoing in her head. Does he think something will happen between them? He is absolutely irredeemable, she decides. Yet, 𝓠𝓞 remains outside, haunted by her lingering scent. He tries to purge her from his mind. He wakes up shivering from a dream he can't escape. He blames her for invading his very subconscious. In her room, she searches for the perfect armor. Too dark, too desperate. She scrutinizes every dress, wanting to look perfect yet completely indifferent. She prayed their paths wouldn't cross. Even if they did, silence was her shield. She hurried past her mother. A warning about lunch followed her, but the world stopped when she saw him. 𝓠𝓞 was waiting outside like a ghost. Her heart thundered against her ribs. She masked her shock with a sharp jab. Do you live on these stairs? She mocked. He remained a cold, silent statue, until she mentioned his ashtray. Would you prefer I discarded it? He countered. His arrogance made her blood boil. Do you always need the last word? She turned away, resentment fueling every step. His voice cut through the air. He criticized her style, demanding a change. She cursed his name under her breath. What a total jerk, she hissed. Yet, she immediately checked her reflection. He smirked, seeing right through her vanity. He wasn't talking about her hair. Cover yourself up, he warned. His eyes judged her revealing outfit. Exhaustion claimed her later that night. She stared at his empty ashtray. Was that man even human? On the stairs, Jae-woo warned Seol, slow down, or you'll fall. But the girl only wanted to win. Seol spotted her hero, 𝓑𝓵𝓮. She raced toward her with pure joy. Jae-woo watched, his expression unreadable. Are you stalking me now? He accused. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 fired back with sharp venom. Seol ignored the sparks flying between them. The child declared her victory proudly. One wish was her hard-earned prize. Jae-woo offered treats and snacks. But 𝓑𝓵𝓮 sensed a deeper desire. Seol didn't want toys or candy. She wanted a brand new mommy. You already have two, he reminded. The more the better, Seol insisted. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stood frozen in pure disbelief. Is this a game of house? He joked. He offered to play the mother role, but Seol wouldn't hear of it. She clung to 𝓑𝓵𝓮's waist. I want her, the child cried. To Seol, she was a true Wonder Woman. She belonged on their family team. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 felt a wave of nervous panic. I'm no hero, she whispered softly. Then, Seol dropped a devastating truth. My mommies never kiss my daddy, even though they kiss each other. The child's pity was a sharp blade. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 gasped as Jae-woo's face hardened. The air turned thick with suffocating tension. Seol giggled and hid from the storm, leaving them trapped in awkward silence. Was this family just a hollow shell? She knocked softly, checking on Jung-ah. Meanwhile, a desperate call came through. Era needed someone to watch Seol. She promised a reward for his help. Jae-woo accepted the burden of fatherhood. He turned his gaze toward the child. Seol's eyes sparkled with newfound hope. Will daddy pick me up today? Her excitement was a fragile thing. Era teased her about her growing love. Seol nodded, hugging her mother tightly. A debt of gratitude was owed. The daycare was canceled for today. They were bound to this house. Go to work, he commanded coldly. You're already late, he noted. Then he saw Seol's messy hair. Did you do this yourself? She beamed with a sense of pride. Her mothers were too busy to help. I'm a big girl now, she declared. He softened, praising her clumsy effort. It's pretty, he lied gently, but you don't always have to be good. Confusion clouded the little girl's eyes. Would that make me a bad person? He shook his head, his gaze dark. I'm not a good man, he confessed. Do you think I'm a villain? She smiled, loving him regardless. He let out a rare, low chuckle. I like you too, he admitted. He began to fix her tangled locks. She asked for the name of this style. A new creation, he claimed, but it looked exactly like 𝓑𝓵𝓮's. Seol wanted to show the world. He agreed, feeling the weight of responsibility. This was more than simple babysitting. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 felt the pull of fate again. He settled Seol in front of the TV. Watch your favorite show, he suggested. She made a very specific request. He noticed her new familiar hair. You look adorable today, he murmured. Seol bragged about her beautiful style. He mentioned a character from her show, a story of evolution and change. They transform, they don't evolve, she corrected. He explained the origin of the braid. 𝓑𝓵𝓮's heart skipped a beat. How did he know her secrets? He hurried the child inside quickly. The door slammed shut between them. Why was he hiding his feelings? It's complicated, he muttered to himself. A truth she wasn't ready to hear. He was only her father on paper. Her real family was those two women. The realization hit 𝓑𝓵𝓮 like lightning. She had spent all day at the library. Seol's mothers had painted a lie of divorce and broken homes. But they were a committed couple. Gay marriage isn't legal here, he explained. The child needed a legal shield. He was the phantom father figure, a marriage built on cold convenience, a sacrifice for the woman he protected. It was a shield for Jung-ah's career, a legal contract with 𝓑𝓵𝓮. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 realized his tragic, hidden role. Jae-woo drops a bombshell. Seol was adopted. He warns her not to weave any romantic fantasies about his past. It was a cold transaction via a sperm bank. He only married Era because a single woman lacked legal standing. Marriage was the only key to unlock that door. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 nods, acknowledging the twisted necessity of a spouse's consent. She probes deeper, asking if he ever plans for a real marriage. He bristles, demanding to know why she cares. Curious about a divorce? She counters. He cuts her off coldly. Some secrets are better left buried in the dark. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 is stunned. Raising another man's child is no small feat, but he doesn't blink, his resolve like ice. He's raised Seol since her first breath. To him, bloodlines mean nothing. He asks what she truly sees in him. A perverted neighbor? She shoots back. She wouldn't be shocked if he had a dark, unspeakable past behind that mask. He laughs the next day, flipping the script. How can such a grumpy man raise a child so pure? He's reached his limit, but she pushes. She notes a flicker of light in his eyes, a cheerfulness he can't hide. She mocks his usual scowl, teasing the beast. He warns her she's playing with fire, yet he almost smiled. He refuses to admit defeat. "Watch your tongue," he snaps, citing the child. She just sighs at his immaturity. Soul calls out, and the fatherly instinct kicks in. He tells her to play with new mommy while he cooks. The tension is thick. He tells her to just play along, making it venomously clear his heart is locked away. She obeys with a heavy heart. Why does he radiate such boiling rage even during a simple game? She tries to engage the girl, but Soul is distant. Jae-woo remains a whirlwind of silent fury while cooking. Elsewhere, Era checks on Young. A crushing weight sits on her chest, a suffocating grief she forces herself to endure. Her voice trembles with a soft, broken tenderness. She tells Soul's mother to eat, her own appetite long gone. There is no rush, only a hollow silence. She admits the thought of food makes her stomach churn with dread. Every bite is a battle against the urge to purge. The moment the scale ticks up, self-loathing becomes a prison. Frustration and guilt spiral into a dark abyss. She desperately claws for air, trying to drown out the screaming. She buries the trauma deep, seeking solace in the quiet. But Soul's mother sees through the cracks in her armor. "I'm just happy to be here," she whispers. The silence between them is heavy with things they dare not say. Then comes a compliment that stings. She calls her gorgeous, even with the remnants of her pain visible. Soul gazes at her with wide, innocent eyes. She reaches out, wanting to see the face hidden behind the shame. She forces a soft laugh to mask the horror. "It's just a mess," she whispers, trying to normalize her destruction. It's pathetic, yet comforting. Soul doesn't recoil in disgust. For once, she isn't a monster in someone's eyes. She pulls the girl into a fierce, desperate embrace. Even in her most broken state, she is still beautiful. Soul's quiet smile is a dagger. She jokes that she only loves her for her fading, superficial beauty. She claims she'll discard her when she's old, but the air grows cold as the joke dies in her throat. Soul's gaze is hauntingly mature. "A charming way to say, 'You'll never leave me,'" she whispers, seeing the truth. Jungga's heart aches. This child sees the soul beneath the scars in a way no adult ever could. That's why the obsession is so deep. She remembers the beginning, back when she first transferred to the school. The second semester had just begun. It was a whirlwind of new faces, but she stood out like a flame. The attention was suffocating, yet intoxicating. It wasn't just her ethereal looks that drew them in like moths. They worshipped her personality and kindness. She was a saint to them, wearing a mask of perfect comfort. Everyone sang her praises, unaware of the rot within. Being idolized was the only shield she had left. It was a sharp contrast to the hell at home. Era's family had reacted with a violence that still burns. When the truth of her heart came out, they struck. The wound of their betrayal remains raw and bleeding. They called her selfish and delusional. The rejection was total, a cold death sentence for her very identity. Sitting with Soul, the sting returns. She knows the toll this war took on Era, a price paid in blood. Yet, she still draws breath. She still fights for a love the world deems toxic, a desperate, forbidden hunger. They forced exorcisms on her, trying to scream the demon away. It wasn't treatment, it was pure, unadulterated psychological torture. As a new student, Jungga knew nothing of this tragedy. She didn't even know her name or her face. All she saw was a girl lost in sleep at her desk. Two souls, drifting in the same room. She hissed at the whispers, branding them as mindless minions serving a plastic queen bee. The tension exploded as a student barked back, demanding to know what her problem was. She mocked them, asking if they dared to strike. Jungga apologized, but her friend bristled. Why apologize? Era was clearly just bitter, hiding her insecurity behind a wall of antidepressants. Jungga begged for peace, but they sneered, calling Era a toxic mess over the smallest slights. They decided to leave the wreck alone, whispering about the tragic, broken life she hid away. Despite her father owning Day One Corporation, she was miserable. Jungga suggested they just leave for snacks. They worried Jungga was too soft, a doormat for the cruel. Meanwhile, Jae-woo watched in silence. He sat beside her on the swings, asking about the pointless rituals her parents forced upon her. She hated the reminder. A shaman had already failed, and now a priest was being summoned. They were desperate for a miracle. Jae-woo told her to just lie and say she was cured. If only faking it worked. Passing him later, she felt that familiar spark of cold, sharp resentment. She threatened to expose his dark secret if he didn't shut his mouth. He looked on, unfazed. She mocked his intelligence, while 𝓛𝓮 wondered who could ever love a woman so venomous. The blonde queen bee strutted toward 𝓛𝓮, radiating a terrifying, magnetic confidence that demanded total attention. 𝓛𝓮 didn't blink, her gaze piercing through the girl's mask as she coldly asked, "Who are you?" Unshaken, she smirked, identifying herself as the queen bee from the back row. 𝓛𝓮's heart raced. Queen bee? 𝓛𝓮's voice dripped with pure sarcasm. Who actually calls themselves that in real life? It sounded so childish, yet the girl just laughed it off, shifting to a more dangerous tone. She claimed they were just a loyal posse. 𝓛𝓮 stared, sensing the toxic trap being laid. The audacity was staggering. This girl clearly had a twisted definition of what a friend was. When 𝓛𝓮 gave her name, the girl barely reacted. The cold indifference felt like a physical blow. It was an odd encounter 𝓛𝓮 wanted to bury, but the resentment began to fester deep inside. She felt beneath this drama, yet the girl's presence gnawed at her like a persistent shadow. One wrong move could ignite a wildfire, incinerating her entire future before it even truly began. Scandal was a hungry beast. Rumors could destroy her dreams of stardom in a single heartbeat. As an aspiring actress, she had to endure. She'd survive by swallowing her wounded, bleeding pride. Apologizing for a crime she didn't commit felt like poison, but she prepared for the blow. Her mind drifted to her arrival in Seoul, fleeing the ghost of the grandmother who raised her. After her grandmother passed, she chased the forbidden dream of the stage, leaving everything behind. Her grandmother never approved. The guilt was a heavy chain she had to break to survive. That departure was her rebirth. She was no longer the fragile girl from a forgotten town. She shed her old skin. Lee 𝓛𝓮 died that day, and the star, 𝓑𝓵𝓪, was born. 𝓑𝓵𝓪 was her shield. Changing her name was a desperate act of total, soul-deep transformation. It was a symbolic erasure of her history, a necessary sacrifice to step into the light. Yet, looking at the queen bee, doubt crawled under her skin. Was this girl truly sincere? Fame was a double-edged sword, and these toxic games were the price. Jae-woo watched closely. Jae-woo stood nearby, his frustration boiling over. Why was 𝓛𝓮 being so difficult and cold? To him, the girl was innocent. He watched as 𝓛𝓮's hostility created a storm from nothing. She ruthlessly rejected the girl's olive branch, refusing to play along with the fake kindness. 𝓛𝓮 sensed the lies. This wasn't a friendship, it was a calculated, psychological trap for power. She called out the fake smile. How could they be friends when she barely knew her name? This was a twisted game of manipulation, and 𝓛𝓮 refused to be a pawn in it. Jae-woo's patience finally snapped. He stepped in, commanding 𝓛𝓮 to end this cruel, pointless hostility. He defended the enemy, but 𝓛𝓮's resolve only hardened. The battle lines were drawn in blood. 𝓛𝓮 glares at Jae-woo with icy eyes, refusing to sugarcoat the painful, ugly truth. That girl is a total fraud. 𝓛𝓮 loathes every petty lie and refuses to play along. She won't pretend things are fine. If she hurts feelings, so be it. This is reality. It is pathetic how some people give zero effort yet expect the world in return. Watching others coast through life triggers a deep, burning rage inside her bitter soul. Is it just jealousy? She knows that even blood and sweat cannot guarantee success. She snaps at the blue-haired rival to shut up. You know nothing about my pain. But the girl bites back, calling 𝓛𝓮 clueless for acting like her life is the hardest. Does she even know her reputation? Everyone sees her as a pampered, spoiled rich brat. A rich kid throwing a tantrum over nothing. 𝓛𝓮 rushes forward, her patience finally snapping. Jae-woo tries to intervene, but the girl dares 𝓛𝓮 to repeat those venomous words. Does popularity give you the right to look down on me? Jae-woo shields her. 𝓛𝓮 complains about a scratch, but insists the rival started this petty, toxic war. Stop acting superior. Go back to your high and mighty clique where you belong. She doubts the apology is real. Why did this girl come here to provoke her? When the rival offers a hand, 𝓛𝓮 strikes her cheek. A few scratches are nothing? You have been pampered your whole life. That is why you lack a shred of empathy. It is irritating how she acts like royalty. Are you finally finished with your drama? Jae-woo tries to calm her, noticing the injury. 𝓛𝓮 suddenly freezes, questioning her heart. She offers a cold apology, promising to make amends properly next time for this mess. Control your temper, Jae-woo warns. He asks if she is still stunned by the slap. I have never seen someone look so beautiful while crying, she admits. He just sighs. That sounds like a cheap line from a low-budget romance. Herring's jaw drops. They have been together since high school? He claims he only ever focused on studying. She doubts it. Her mind races as she tries to process this toxic, tangled history. He asked for help, yet now he is making a massive scene over something trivial. Is she giving in too easily? She is the one helping, yet he acts so dominant. Fine, she will play along for now. But his arrogance is truly testing her nerves. She smirks, biting her lip as she reminds him they need to pick up Seoul now. As she turns to leave, he follows. He tries to keep the heavy atmosphere light. He knows they cannot keep fighting like this. Suddenly, her foot slips on the uneven path. Instinct takes over. Before she hits the ground, he catches her in a firm embrace. She gazes up, startled. He holds her a moment too long, his grip unexpectedly strong. The sudden heat between them is undeniable. He tries to hide his growing fluster. "Are you okay?" he asks awkwardly. She pulls away, her heart racing as she denies everything. At the daycare, the teacher greets Jae-woo. "It has been a long time," she notes. He explains he is here for Seoul today because her mother is buried in work. "Tell your dad goodbye," the teacher says. Seoul beams, mentioning her brand new mommy. Jae-woo stays silent, leaving the teacher stunned. He just laughs off the awkwardness. "I will be back soon," he promises. The teacher vows to protect his precious daughter. Later, the doorbell rings. Seoul's mom asks her to check it while she does dishes. It is Jae-woo. He needs to talk. Seoul is shocked to see him so early. "Do you really think you can play the part of my daughter's mother?" he demands. "I thought we were just playing house," she retorts. He reminds her of her own words. He is lost on how to handle this. Should they tell Seoul it was all pretend? Jae-woo smirks as the deal is sealed. She'll play the doting mother until the real one returns. He probes her hesitation. She sneers, mocking his mediocre act as her devoted, fake boyfriend. This charade is a godsend. Now, her mother blindly grants her freedom to wander with him. He realizes he's just her ultimate excuse. How is her mother not seen through this deception? She begrudgingly returns the favor. He demands they meet before daycare ends at 6 o'clock sharp. He critiques her style, warning her to dress better next time. She scoffs as he leaves. She's not foolish enough to wear this. Yet, alone, she wonders what would make her look mature. At daycare, little Shinu waits. She believes her two superhero moms will always come for her. They might be the last to arrive, but Shino isn't scared. She knows they'll show up. Seoul wishes she could protect her father. She's small, but she's made a superhero mom for him. It's their little secret. Seoul reads the joy hidden behind her father's stoic, unsmiling mask. Someone whispers about her having two moms. Suddenly, she slips, and Jay's arms wrap around her. He freezes. If he lets go, she crashes, but the closeness is turning dangerously awkward. He hauls her up, half annoyed. It was just an accident, yet she glares with burning resentment. She storms off in silence. He follows, wondering if she'll pretend this spark never happened. The silence is suffocating. He's the one who messed up, but her anger feels totally misplaced. He saved her from a broken nose. If anything, he deserves a thank you, not this. Her cold shoulder burns his skin. He's frustrated that she won't even acknowledge his existence. He should have let her fall. He didn't touch her inappropriately, so why this dramatic act? He's touched her before. Why does it suddenly feel like a life-altering big deal now? He needs to clear the air. He corners her, calling her kid to bridge the gap. "Come on, I know you're mad," he says. He's trying to be the bigger person here. "Don't call me that," she hisses. Her eyes blaze with a fury that stops him cold. He's truly messed up. To settle the fire, he finally addresses her as Mrs. Hyo. He buttons her shirt as they walk, his voice dropping to a low, toxic whisper. "Wear a bra next time," he commands. His eyes linger, making her skin crawl with heat. He claims everyone can tell. She freezes in pure disbelief, her voice sharp with shock. Jae-woo realizes he's crossed a line, but he won't back down from his blunt honesty. "You're letting everyone know?" He trails off. He tells her to be discreet for their act. She's fuming, hands on her hips. "What in the world are you talking about?" she demands. His face reddens. He's losing control. "We'll finish this once Seoul is finally asleep," he growls. He'll call her Mrs. Hyo from now on. She's reeling, stuck in this suffocating, awkward mess. Before she can lash out, his phone rings. The heavy tension is shattered by the chime. He gives her one last, intense glance before answering. His voice turns professional and cold. She stands there, breathless. The audacity of this man is starting to break her resolve. Her voice cuts like a blade as Jae-woo oversteps, his arrogance triggering her old wounds. He warns her to stay low-key, his eyes burning with a dark, possessive intensity. Fury flares in her eyes as she demands he stop playing these maddening mind games. His face reddens, caught between his rising desire and her sharp, unforgiving resentment. He whispers of a late-night talk, waiting until little Seoul is finally asleep. He brands her Mistress Hyo, a title that feels like a beautiful, toxic cage. Drowning in irritation, she feels herself being pulled back into his twisted, irresistible orbit. A sudden ringtone shatters the heavy, heart-racing tension that threatened to consume them. He throws her one last, lingering, possessive glance before finally answering the call. His mask of composure returns, leaving her standing there with a racing, frantic heartbeat. She stood frozen, arms locked in a defensive stance as his words cut deep. Was this rage or pure betrayal? One thing was certain. She wouldn't grant him mercy. Not today. Not ever. Meanwhile, little Seoul prepared her stage. Her toys were arranged like royal subjects for a grand parade. Her eyes shimmered with a secret, childish joy. A classmate approached with the suspicion of a seasoned investigator. He narrowed his eyes, demanding answers about her family. He prodded about her having two mothers with dangerous curiosity. Seoul, the ultimate informant, simply beamed at the challenge. "Actually, I have 3 moms now," she declared. She sounded like she had just collected a legendary world record. The boy's mind short-circuited. 2 was already a mystery, but 3? That felt like a personal provocation. His mother called 2 weird, so 3 was surely a sin. The playground atmosphere shifted instantly. Word spread like wildfire, making Seoul the star of the midday gossip. She was the anomaly in their small world. Being the only one with 3 moms marked her as an outsider. But in her world, weird was just a synonym for special. The boy wasn't impressed. He shoved her shoulder to assert his dominance. It was a blatant declaration of playground war. But Seoul wasn't born to retreat. Armed with the sheer confidence of a small warrior, she braced herself. She delivered a retaliatory strike that sent him stumbling back. His face crumpled like a discarded piece of paper. A siren-like wail erupted from his throat, alerting the entire school. The tragedy of the century had just occurred. The girl remained unfazed, shrugging off the impending chaos. Trouble was a small price for her family's honor. If a meeting was called, she'd bring all 3 mothers. That would truly give the faculty a shock. Her father had taught her that kindness wasn't always the answer, a lesson she was currently applying with perfection. She was officially out of patience and mercy. Before she could land another blow, the authorities intervened. The teacher swept in like a weary peacekeeper. She expertly separated the 2 combatants with practiced ease. Soon, a frantic Mrs. Hyo arrived, dragging her pretend husband along. He looked like a man caught in a whirlwind. Their eyes locked, sparking a flicker of that old, irresistible chemistry. His protective instincts were screaming. "What happened here?" he demanded, his gaze burning with intensity. The air was thick with parental tension. The teacher dismissed it as a minor skirmish. She pointed toward Huck, who was acting like a fallen hero. He sniffled dramatically, playing the victim for all to see. His mother was already en route to escalate things. A mediation was ordered to settle the dispute peacefully. They looked like tiny diplomats at a failed summit. Mrs. Hyo was still gasping for air from the sprint. She looked completely drained by the sudden drama. Seoul observed her and decided to take charge. Without a word, she stepped forward to offer comfort. She wrapped her tiny arms around her mother in a tight embrace. It was a silent message of protection and love. "You're safe now," the hug seemed to say. Mrs. Hyo could barely breathe under the pressure. Our female lead patted Seoul's back, her voice barely a whisper. She gently asked for the truth behind the brawl. But Seoul had a far more important agenda in mind. Playground politics were suddenly beneath her. She tilted her head, her eyes searching for a deeper truth. A question left the adults completely speechless. "Are you my real mommy too?" Our girl froze, the weight of their fake romance crashing down. Deceiving a child was wrong, but those eyes were irresistible. The hope in Seoul's gaze was devastating. She wanted her to be the final piece of their broken puzzle. The missing link in this toxic, beautiful family. Herring sighed, offering a half-hearted surrender to the moment. "I'll try," she promised, sealing her fate. Seoul's face lit up like 1,000 stars. She giggled and reached for her father's hand, the fight forgotten. Later that night, the little warrior drifted into a peaceful sleep. No regrets, only dreams of her growing family. No more questions, just the warmth of her blankets. Her father peeked in for one final check. He pressed a tender kiss to her brow before retreating. Seoul was content, believing her world was finally perfect. Finally, the fake couple could breathe in the quiet shadows. The day's storm had finally passed them by. They shared a rare moment of stillness, a push-pull of obsession. The silence was heavy with unspoken words. Herring leaned back, her heart finally slowing down. The call about the fight had sent her into a panic. She replayed the confrontation with Huck's furious mother. It had been a battle of wills on the school grounds. No injuries, just wounded pride. Our male lead chuckles softly, his eyes reflecting a hidden, dangerous warmth. Even the cold Jae-woo was rattled. He had never faced such chaos before. He felt a wave of relief that she was there. Little Soul remained calm because her mother had arrived. The child should have been terrified, yet she stood firm. She possessed a true warrior's spirit. As Jay speaks of her resilience, his gaze begins to wander entirely on its own. His mind discusses his daughter's strength, but his eyes have far more scandalous priorities. They drift downward. He traces the curve of 𝓑𝓮's chest. Suddenly, the playground drama is a distant memory. New desires demand his focus. Jay leans back with a predatory smirk. So, shall we return to our earlier, more intimate conversation? Our heroine blinks, completely unimpressed. There is nothing to discuss. You touched me. The end. Jay lets out a dramatic, soul-crushing sigh. He acts as if this injustice has wounded him to the core. He only caught her to prevent a fall. She is quite welcome, by the way. Did she offer thanks? No, she gave him a stinging slap instead. He rubs his cheek, remembering his kind advice about her wardrobe. 𝓑𝓮 scoffs at his audacity. He truly acts like a martyr. Thank you for your many saintly deeds, she mocks. Her voice is laced with peak sarcasm. He raises a brow, clearly hunting for a different kind of reward. Words won't suffice, he purrs. She crosses her arms, certain she owes this man absolutely nothing. He leans in, eyes shimmering with pure, toxic mischief. Let us review her mounting debts to him. She owes him for the save, the slap, and his fashion expertise. He won't let her escape so easily. With heavy reluctance, she agrees to pay him back through labor. She begins the mundane cycle of chores. As she scrubs and folds, her mind begins to spiral. She has far too much time to overthink this. Is he planning to pounce like a lead in those spicy mangas? The ones she secretly enjoys reading? Once the work is finished, she confronts him. Dishes are sparkling and the laundry is perfectly folded. Our male lead sits like a king on his throne. He meets her gaze with a dark, dangerous glint. He shamelessly declares his desire to touch her again. It is as casual as asking for a second helping. 𝓑𝓮's brain short-circuits for a heartbeat. She finally manages to let out a sharp, defensive scoff. But he does not flinch. He leans closer, his expression unreadable and deadly serious. The air in the room thickens instantly. His intentions are crystal clear as his hunger reaches its peak. He vows to wait for her consent. 𝓑𝓮 sighs, finally giving in to the magnetic pull between them. Jay's smirk widens as he flicks her nose. He is a master of teasing, fueling her mounting frustration. She begins hitting him in a flurry of annoyance. She strikes until he dramatically collapses to the floor. He rolls onto his side like a fallen hero in a tragic war drama. He clutches his stomach in agony. Weakly, he mutters to the wall as if saying his final words. 𝓑𝓮 watches him, arms folded tight. Stop being a baby, she snaps. But then, silence falls. A flicker of genuine guilt begins to burn. Perhaps she was too rough? Just as she reaches out to check him, Jay moves like a striking cobra. In a flash, he spins and grabs her. Boom. She is suddenly pinned beneath his heavy frame. Jay looks far too satisfied with his trap. He shifts his weight just enough to keep her captive. You should trust people less, he whispers. She opens her mouth to scream an insult at him, but he silences her with a single, bold action. The stage is set, and he refuses to waste time. 𝓑𝓮 realizes too late that she isn't the one making the rules. The hunter has finally caught his prey. They are locked in a heated embrace, faces mere centimeters apart. The tension is a physical, electric force. Something irreversible is about to happen. Suddenly, a tiny yawn cuts through the air like a cold blade. Small feet patter down the hallway. Soul slides the bedroom door open, breaking the spell of the moment. She stands there rubbing her sleepy eyes. She looks like an angel as she announces she is hungry. Our lead, miraculously alone and covered, keeps his cool. 1 second earlier would have been a total disaster. He clears his throat, forcing his voice into a mask of normalcy. He promises to cook right away. The little girl gives a sleepy nod, satisfied with his word. She cheerfully shuts the door behind her. She skips away, oblivious to the heart attack she almost caused. Jay and 𝓑𝓮 let out long sighs. That was far too close for comfort. 𝓑𝓮 slumps back, her heart still racing from the narrow escape. He grins with infuriating charm, mocking the emotional storm he just stirred within her. She strikes him hard, a desperate physical reaction to the electricity sparking between them. Her voice reaches a fever pitch, exposing the lies he used to trap her here. He stretches with lazy arrogance, knowing his manipulation has worked perfectly once again. Masking her pain with duty, she orders him to go cook dinner for Soul. He groans like a soldier sent to war, dragging his feet toward the kitchen. She fumes while cleaning, acting unbothered while her heart remains in total, chaotic disarray. Burying her resentment, our leading lady prepares for a tense dinner with the child. Little Soul watches with sharp eyes, sensing the dangerous storm brewing between the two. I saw you in Daddy's room, Seoul chirps, wondering where she hid. 𝓑𝓮 just smirks, patting her head with an infuriatingly calm, powerful hand. She claims she was invisible, leaving Seoul in awe. Dinner is served, forcing the three to gather despite the thick, suffocating resentment between them. Seoul digs in while 𝓑𝓮's intense gaze remains fixed on her. Is it to your liking? He asks, his voice dripping with toxic obsession. Seoul nods, complaining the soup is far too salty. 𝓑𝓮 and Jaeyu share a knowing look, aware of whose clumsy, wounded heart cooked this. Jaeyu's lips curl into a taunting smirk. Who's truly to blame here? 𝓑𝓮 stabs her rice, fuming with silent rage. I'll smash this bowl over your head, Jaeyu laughs, savoring her fury. Beside them, the young girl gazes at 𝓑𝓮 with adoration. Her innocent face radiates joy. It's okay, new mommy. Just eat double the rice to drown out the salt. 𝓑𝓮 freezes. This child is a literal angel, melting her cold heart. I'll cook something even better next time, she vows softly. The girl's eyes sparkle with excitement, but in an instant, a shadow falls over her face as she remembers. My mother used to say. But before she finishes, Jae-woo snorts, barely suppressing a cruel, mocking laugh. She elbows him sharply. Stop mocking me! He straightens up, his eyes flashing with a familiar, toxic obsession. Seoul doesn't miss a beat, nodding firmly. But you did. You always laugh when a new mommy is here. A suffocating silence falls. Both adults freeze like statues, staring in shock. Seoul's casual words just stripped away the facade of their toxic, messy past, choosing the coward's escape from this burning tension. Our guy pushes back his chair and stands, unable to meet her eyes. Blissfully unaware of the war, the girl urges 𝓑𝓮 to eat. 𝓑𝓮, reeling from the wound, nods back slowly. Jaeyu retreats to the sink, staring into the water like it could wash away the resentment clumping in his chest. He needs air. Jaeyu frantically pats his pockets, fishing out the cigarette pack that serves as his only escape from reality. He slides a stick between his lips, pausing to cast one last, lingering look at the woman who still haunts him. They look like a perfect family, a cruel mockery of what they lost. He shakes his head and steps into the dark. Lighting up outside, a sharp realization strikes. In all this time, he has never once smoked while Seoul was around him. Not once. Why? Perhaps he couldn't bear to leave her alone, or maybe he feared his own darkness would stain her. He knows he is no hero, and definitely not the world's greatest father, but at the very least, he keeps her pure. He is rarely this reckless, but Seoul is distracted. He decides one quick smoke won't hurt. Get it together, he growls. 𝓑𝓮 isn't family, just that beautiful, enigmatic neighbor he cannot ignore. It is a solid reminder, but before the first exhale, his instincts scream. Someone is watching. He pivots instantly, killing the flame, but there stands Seoul, catching her father red-handed. She glares with playful expectation. Daddy, let's play. Jaeyu sighs, defeated by his daughter's bright eyes. His internal lecture was useless. Seoul beams, her tiny heart racing with pure, unfiltered excitement. Magic tricks, she cheers. You are the assistant, while Mommy and I are the star magicians. Elsewhere, under the harsh studio lights, cameras roll on the set of a legendary blockbuster drama. Cut! The director bellows. The crew immediately swarms their lead actress, the famous Miss Lee. Do you need anything? She waves them away with a fragile smile that hides deep pain. Her vision blurs. The toxic combination of nicotine and an empty stomach finally takes its toll. The director claps, demanding more. Next scene. We are losing time. Everyone, get in position. But the world spins out of control. Miss Lee sways and collapses, crashing hard against the ground. Total panic erupts. Voices rise in a frantic chorus, but the actress lies there, cold and unresponsive. Completely unconscious, Seoul's legendary mother isn't just anyone. She's a top-tier superstar in her era. Era bursts into the hospital room, gasping for air. She clearly rushed here in a panic. She's panting like a marathon runner. Biol lies there, looking like a shattered, exhausted idol. Worry consumes Era's face. Eat before the shoot. Her warnings were brushed aside yet again. She wants to scold her, but stops. A heavy sigh escapes as her voice softens. Biol stares coldly at the ceiling. Era feels the sting of resentment for her friend's recklessness. Biol has been pushing her limits for weeks. This collapse is a dangerous, recurring pattern. Sitting on the bedside, Era brushes back her hair. You must slow down, she pleads. Biol smirks, her eyes narrowing. Look who's talking. You drown yourself in work too, Era. Era doesn't argue the truth. The difference? I've never ended up in a hospital bed. Biol shrugs it off like nothing. But Era's voice is quiet, laced with genuine terror. She's scared of what comes next. Yet the stubborn actress doesn't seem worried at all. Fainting is trivial to Biol. What bothers me is being seen in this pathetic state. Era rubs her temples. It's always about the image, never the soul-crushing exhaustion she endures. Leaning in, Era's voice turns steady. You're powerful and talented. You don't have to struggle alone. She pats Biol's head with a soft touch. For now, just give your heart a rest. No stress, no overthinking. Just focus on the simple, happy things in this world. Biol suddenly sits up, her gaze sharp. Are you saying I have an empty head? Era blinks, caught off guard. Her words were misunderstood, and now the tension is rising. Biol crosses her arms, eyes flashing. And don't think I've forgotten you were late, Era. Era groans, but Biol's expression turns mischievous. Next time, be on time, or else. Era pales. Biol inhales the bouquet's scent. It's pristine, a fleeting moment of pure peace. The fragrance is perfect. She smiles, finally feeling the heavy weight lift off her chest. Era watches her, then drops a bombshell. Let's vanish on vacation once filming wraps up. Biol blinks in shock. Just us girls? Soul and us? Somewhere quiet and far away? Since when do you take breaks? Era smirks, her eyes shining with a hidden resolve. Biol laughs, amused by the workaholic's change of heart. They begin to plot their escape. But reality hits. Biol is too famous. Finding a secret sanctuary becomes a daunting mission. Somewhere remote, yet with Wi-Fi. A place where the cameras and crowds can't find them. They need a spot off the map. Biol debates locations with a newfound burning enthusiasm. Just minutes ago, she was miserable. Now, her grin is radiant, fueled by their shared plans. That's the power of love. A new day breaks, and 𝓑𝓵𝓮 steps into the morning light. She stretches, soaking in the golden sky. Everything feels right in this rare, peaceful moment. A perfect day is unfolding. She inhales the fresh air, her heart feeling lighter than before. From inside, Jae-woo calls out. Lunch is ready. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 chuckles at her own late morning slumber. She won't let noon stop her. Eager to eat, she hurries inside to join them. Little Seol's laughter echoes through the house. Daddy made dumplings. She cheers with joy. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 smiles as they tease Seol. The dumplings look strange, but the warmth is unmistakable. The energy is vibrant and happy. Time flows slowly, marked by the steady rhythm of life. Much has changed. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 is finally settling in, finding a strange harmony with the family. The family dynamic is evolving. Little Seol, in particular, has grown deeply attached to her. Having her around feels right. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 is starting to feel at home in this sanctuary. Shared laughs and teasing moments bridge the gap. The days pass in a haze of warmth. Their bond is strengthening with every heartbeat. Little Seol waddles toward the ashtray in curiosity. Before she can touch it, Jae-woo swoops in. He grabs it just in time, voice low. Don't touch that, it's poison, he warns with gentle steel. Little Seol tilts her head, frowning at her father's sudden, strange command. The young man freezes as the child calls him out. Caught red-handed, he turns away, employing his signature move. If he ignores it, it vanishes. But Seol isn't fooled. She crosses her arms, watching as her father makes a desperate, tactical retreat into the safety of their home. Inside, our main character stares at the ashtray, haunted by his vices. Should he quit for her? The weight of fatherhood pulls at his soul. Dad! Mom! Her voice shatters his dark reverie. He discards the guilt for now, burying his shadows to play the part of a perfect father. Meanwhile, at 𝓑𝓵𝓮's place, the atmosphere is thick with suspicion. Her mother watches with a knowing smirk, arms folded tightly against her chest. Spending quite a bit of time with that boyfriend of yours, aren't you? She teases, her voice dripping with hidden, heart-racing meaning. 𝓑𝓮 falters, her heart racing as she offers a half-hearted shrug. Yeah, something like that. Her mother's eyebrow arches in a sharp, skeptical line. Panic flares. She grabs her bag, flashing a desperate, innocent smile. He's teaching me things. Her mother's eyes gleam with a dangerous sense of pride. I knew it. Her mom beams, enamored by the lie. That doctor, boyfriend of yours, is a saint, dedicating his precious time to a girl like you. Our female lead forces a smile, though she's drowning in a cold sweat. The web of lies is tightening, threatening to crush her very spirit. A nervous laugh escapes her lips. Totally, but don't worry, Mom. I'm not being a burden. I barely ask for anything at all. Her mother nods, satisfied for now. Good. A powerful man has enough on his plate. Seizing the moment, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 prepares her frantic getaway. Eating out tonight, don't wait up. She waves and bolts before the questions can resume. Behind her, the door clicks shut, leaving her in the cold. Leaning against the railing, the weight of deception hits her. This fake relationship is becoming a toxic trap. How much longer can she play this game? Her gaze wanders until it lands on the ashtray. It's pristine, empty. A chill runs down her spine as she realizes something has shifted. It was overflowing with his filth just yesterday. Now, it's practically sparkling, mocking her with its cleanliness. A silent, mysterious change has occurred. She remembers the day she gave it to him. It felt like a victory that he actually used it, but now a dark doubt creeps in. Regret washes over her like a tidal wave. Was giving him that gift a mistake? She squints, her mind racing with a sudden, sharp anxiety. Was she just enabling his self-destruction? Night descends, and with it, the realization that her kindness might be a weapon used against him. Jae-woo enters the room to announce dinner, but the sight before him stops him cold. It is a portrait of pure, unadulterated laziness. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 and little Seol are sprawled across the floor, lost in a deep, pathetic slumber. He sighs, wondering if they even finished their show. Probably not. His eyes settle on 𝓑𝓵𝓮, her guard completely down. He pokes her cheek, then pulls it, testing the limits of her unconsciousness. This girl is infuriatingly stubborn, even in sleep. How can she be this oblivious? Frustrated, he presses his thumb firmly against her brow. He brushes the hair from her face, his gaze intense. Is she even breathing? He narrows his eyes, wondering if she's simply passed away. Leaning in, he studies her. She's alive and annoyingly cute when silent. It's a truth he would never dare admit out loud to anyone. One last attempt to wake the beast. He pinches her ear with a sharp twist. Finally, a twitch. The spark of life returns to her body. "So, you live," he mutters, relieved yet annoyed. Why couldn't she just wake up like a normal human? His patience has finally evaporated. Without warning, he smacks her head. Our girl bolts upright, a scream of agony tearing through the air. "What was that for, you jerk?" He doesn't even blink. He effortlessly scoops up the drowsy child, casually ordering 𝓑𝓵𝓮 to follow them if she wants to eat tonight. She groans, her body aching from the cold floor. Her back screams in protest. The price of her own laziness is a sharp, stinging pain. As he stalks away, she stiffens. The memory of his touch, however violent, leaves a lingering heat. That man is a constant heart attack. The truth? She'd been awake for every moment of his scrutiny, paralyzed by the tension, waiting for a chance to escape his piercing gaze. But the moment never came. Now, a fierce blush burns across her cheeks. Thankfully, the oblivious Jae-woo is already focused on his stomach. Typical. The next day brings a shock that no one expected. Jae-woo makes a massive investment. A brand new, luxurious bed has finally arrived. Has the sun risen in the west? Is the world ending? He simply shrugs it off. I just decided I needed something decent for once. Naturally, the girls are the first to claim it. Seol squeals in pure joy, bouncing on the mattress like it's a personal playground. But 𝓑𝓵𝓮 is a detective of the heart. She narrows her eyes at him, sensing a hidden motive behind this sudden, expensive change. What's the real reason, Jae-woo? He sighs, stretching with dramatic flair. My back is killing me. I'm not 20 anymore. The floor is a nightmare for my spine. Even I have rights, he grumbles, but the girls are lost in their own conversation. They're ignoring his tragic tale of physical suffering. He glares at them, his pride wounded as they remain completely indifferent to his pain. Glad to see you both care so much, he mutters. He clears his throat, desperate to reclaim some scrap of authority in his own room. So, the bed? 𝓑𝓵𝓮 stretches lazily, her voice heavy with comfort. It's fine. I mean, it's new. It's actually better than I expected. Good, he nods, acting as if he's conquered a kingdom, as long as it's comfortable. His gaze lingers on her for a fraction too long. The day fades as 𝓑𝓵𝓮 and Seol return home, shaking off the exhaustion of school. The little girl is already planning their next move. Seol clings to 𝓑𝓮's hand. Next time, we watch that anime together, she declares with a commander's absolute seriousness. 𝓑𝓮 chuckles, promising not to watch ahead, but the little girl narrows her eyes, sensing a potential, heartbreaking betrayal. No spoilers, promise? Satisfied, Seol retreats to her room, leaving the two adults alone in a suffocating, heavy silence. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts, turning electric. Neither says a word as they turn away, avoiding each other's burning gazes. Both are drowning in unsaid thoughts but have no clue how to speak. Eventually, they retreat into the quiet bedroom. Our male lead obsessively straightens the covers on the new bed, patting it down like it is some priceless treasure. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 watches him with crossed arms. It is sad Seol leaves soon, she muses. Especially after you bought this. Jae-woo refuses to look up. I got it for myself. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 drags out the word. Right, clearly mocking him. Because sleeping on the floor is bad for your back? She smirks, enjoying the chance to tease the powerful man. Jae-woo shoots her a sharp look, but does not argue. Mission complete. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 turns to flee, but fails. A firm hand clamps around her wrist, stopping her instantly. Jae-woo tightens his grip, anchoring her to his side. He clears his throat, sounding almost hesitant. Want to stay back and finish that movie with me? 𝓑𝓵𝓮 pauses. What movie? He gives her a pointed look, desperate for her to remember the night their complicated dance began. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 squints in confusion. We watched a movie together? Are you sure you are not confusing me with another woman? Jae-woo exhales, shaking his head. It was the night they first slept together. Suddenly, the memory rushes back. She lets out a small, nervous laugh. Right, we did. He just waits, arms crossed, silently demanding her final decision. Our female lead stretches lazily. Well, now I am curious to see how it ends. That is all he needs. They settle in side by side. Eyes lock on the screen, but the room falls into an eerie, heart-pounding silence. Neither speaks as the film plays. Someone should break the tension, but who will be the first to surrender? 𝓑𝓵𝓮 finally speaks, and Jae-woo flinches. It is as if her voice cut through the quiet like a blade. She takes a deep breath. Listen, I just wanted to say something. He glances at her, his gaze dangerously intense. Express yourself freely, he says. She hesitates, then pushes forward, ready to reopen an old, emotional wound. I wanted to apologize for before. His brows furrow. Before? You mean way back to the day we first met? Jae-woo blinks in surprise. And what exactly are you apologizing for? She exhales, the drama of it all surfacing. Well, I called you a sex-crazed pervert within 5 minutes. Then I got drunk and made some very questionable moves. Now it is his turn to be stunned. 𝓑𝓵𝓮's face turns crimson. The truth is far more embarrassing than expected. She pushes through the shame. I just realized I never actually said sorry for any of that chaotic, drunken behavior. Our guy leans back, his eyes narrowing. And why is this suddenly so important to you at this very moment? Because it just hit me, she snaps. In my defense, I only acted that way because you seemed so sketchy. He scoffs, but she glares him into silence. Let me finish. He shuts his mouth, realizing she has more to say. Jae-woo actually listens, his eyes locked on her. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 finds his focused gaze unnerving, yet she continues the confession. That day was weird, she admits. I put you in such an awkward position while it was pouring rain outside. You were just trying to help, and I never thanked you. Our guy stays quiet, his expression shifting ever so slightly. You never brought it up again, so I assumed you forgot. But I was a mess, crying through a tantrum. She pauses, biting her lip in regret. You just dealt with it, but spending time with you in Seoul. I realize I have no idea what I am doing with my life. He raises a brow at her drama. No, really. I have just been a puppet, going wherever my mother tells me, studying whatever she picks for me. I did not even choose my own career. His gaze softens as he watches her struggle with her own resentment. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 lets out a breath, feeling like she is just coasting. For once, Jae-woo does not make a joke. Seeing Jae-woo care for Seoul with such patience does something weird to 𝓑𝓮. She cannot even put it into words. It makes her think, what does it look like when someone dedicates their entire life to the people they love? Seoul's happy face is the proof. That little girl was shaped by love. And then there is Jae-woo himself. Even with his messy hair and grumpy attitude, he carries that same unwavering, steady love in his intense gaze. It is the kind of love that never wavers, no matter what. Our female lead watches them, feeling a sting. Something sinks in. She does not fit into their perfect world. Their love is whole, and she is just drifting. Jae-woo's heart was a fortress, marked with a cold no vacancy sign. She slaps her face, blaming a non-existent mosquito for her sudden blush. Her mind is a mess. Why did she speak? Then, his grip tightens. I'm drunk, she lies, desperate to escape his burning, predatory gaze. He doesn't budge. Repeat it, he commands, pinning her with his eyes. She stammers through nonsense until the fatal, honest truth finally slips out. His gaze turns sharp. The old wounds of resentment flare up instantly. I apologized, he mutters, his presence suddenly overwhelming and suffocatingly close. The silence is heavy. She lunges for beer, any excuse to run away. He moves like a shadow. One move, and she's pinned to the mattress. His eyes search hers. How long? He whispers, his voice dangerous and low. The secret is out. She's been faking amnesia this entire time. Trapped in his web. Either answer leads to her total emotional downfall. Only recently, she confesses. No grand reveal for this drunken disaster. She couldn't exactly brag about remembering their most shameful, ruined night. He doesn't flinch. Instead, he closes the final distance between them. Remember our first time? His words are a toxic, searing reminder. A failed attempt, a jagged memory. And he is blaming her? Her heart races. Nothing is stopping us tonight, he declares darkly. The air turns to steam. He's played her like a master strategist. A new bed, he smirks. For your comfort, and for mine. Her heart hammers. Was this entire room a trap just for her? Silence is his answer. Then, he devours her breath in an instant. Logic shatters. Her body betrays her, craving his dangerous, irresistible touch. The tension snaps. This push-pull game is finally reaching its peak. A kiss like wildfire. His fingers find the zipper, seeking her heat. Fear flares. She shoves him away, unable to meet his intense gaze. "What's wrong with you?" she gasps, her voice trembling with nerves. "Just a kiss," he lies, his eyes mocking her sudden, frantic hesitation. She glares. The obsession in his eyes is impossible to ignore now. He reaches for her again, deflecting with a comment about her clothes. "No bra, tight shirts," he observes, his voice dripping with pure arrogance. He knows her body too well. She feels exposed and completely undone. His smirk says it all. He's been watching her every move. From the bedroom to the arcade, the battlefield simply changes its shape. Seoul is a ball of energy, cheering for her champion, 𝓑𝓵𝓪𝓶. "It's about teamwork," he claims. She scoffs at his pathetic, weak excuses. "You're just scared to lose," she taunts, fueling their toxic rivalry. The game erupts. Neon lights and adrenaline flood the small space. 𝓑𝓵𝓪𝓮 is a demon on the controls, driven by pure, competitive spite. Seoul's screams are chaotic, but they push 𝓑𝓵𝓮 to her limit. Jaeyu tries to lead, but she's already miles ahead of him. Victory! She celebrates her triumph while he sighs, defeated for now. He heads for coins, muttering about being stuck with two maniacs. But nearby, a simple family's laughter makes him pause in deep thought. Jae-woo releases the ball with a cold, lethal grace. A strike or a gutter? Nearby, a child pleads for treats. The ticking clock of their movie is ignored. Watching the warm family, Jae-woo's eyes remain a frozen, unreadable abyss. A polite voice breaks his trance. A small boy waits to take his turn. Impressed by the rare manners, he steps back, but his gaze lingers on them. Meanwhile, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 and Seoul are left alone, a recipe for absolute chaos. Seoul is still glowing from victory. She's about to drop a massive bombshell. "You're a real superhero," she beams. The first woman to ever conquer her father. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 smirks, soaking in the praise. Finally, her legendary skills are recognized. Seoul is starstruck. To her, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 is the ultimate, powerful protector. Curious, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 leans in. "What makes a superhero so special to you?" Seoul's expression turns grave. "Mommy 𝓑𝓵𝓮, can you keep a top secret?" Intrigued, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 arches an eyebrow. "No secret is too big for me." Seoul leans in, whispering like she's revealing a classified state secret. "It's fun with you," she whispers. "But when you're gone, Daddy looks so empty." He looks lost, sad, exhausted. 𝓑𝓵𝓮's heart stutters at the girl's words. Stunned, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 wonders, what is this perceptive child trying to say? "Daddy only smiles when he's with you." 𝓑𝓵𝓮 freezes. The truth hits hard. "I want you to be my new mommy. Because you're a real hero." 𝓑𝓵𝓮 nearly chokes. Of all the things for this kid to say, what is a hero anyway? Capes? Flying? She's far from that ideal. She's just a woman with a messy past, hardly savior material. But Seoul's eyes sparkle with absolute conviction. She's already decided. "Heroes always rescue people," Seoul explains. "They show up when things get dangerous." It's surprisingly deep. Seoul cups her hands, preparing for the final plea. "Mommy 𝓑𝓵𝓮, please, save my daddy, be his superhero." 𝓑𝓵𝓮's heart melts. "And what do I get for this dangerous mission?" Seoul offers a deal. "If you protect Daddy, I'll be your hero too." A heavy burden, indeed. With a soft smile, 𝓑𝓵𝓮 silently accepts. Suddenly, the world blurs. Had she been talking in her sleep this whole time? A low, magnetic voice shatters the haze. "What did you just say?" Jae-woo looms over her, his brow furrowed. He definitely heard something. Her eyelids are lead. 𝓑𝓵𝓮 struggles back to reality, mumbling nonsense. Then, she sees him. He's too close. Panicked, she bolts upright. Thud! Their foreheads collide violently. Jae-woo groans, clutching his head. "I wasn't doing anything weird," he snaps. "You were whimpering in your sleep." She's not convinced. "You didn't have to hover over me like a ghost." Jae-woo sighs, his gaze softening for a fleeting second. "Are you okay?" She feels lost. He stands up. "I made some hangover soup. Eat it." Seoul's words echo in her mind. "He's only happy when he's with you." Is it true? Before she can process it, he pauses at the door. "Watch your drinking," he scoffs. "I don't want you collapsing here every night." "Hey," she screams. But the cold devil doesn't even look back. She goes to shout again, but stops. She's completely naked under these sheets. Her face turns crimson. Fine. Confrontation can wait until she's actually dressed. She forces a nod just to chase him away. Once he vanishes, she collapses in relief. Crisis averted. Scrambling into her clothes, she struts into the kitchen. Time to act cool. She plays it off with a shrug. Yesterday's a total blur. she lies. But Jae-woo smirks. Want me to help you remember? Her soul nearly escapes. No thanks, she screams too fast. Why the rejection? Because every scandalous detail is etched into her brain. The memories are far too intense. Images of their night flash like wildfire. Her heart is racing out of control. Nope, she can't go there. Where is the soup? She bellows. Anything to break this suffocating tension. Jae-woo's brow arches at her outburst. Chaos is her only weapon now, a desperate distraction from the truth. If she acts crazy enough, maybe the shame will vanish. Right now, meeting his eyes feels impossible. He serves the soup silently. She mumbles a thanks and dives in, using the bowl as a shield. She treats that meal like the most fascinating thing on earth. But then, a realization hits her hard. Why is she acting like a blushing schoolgirl? They both shared that bed. Why is she the only one dying? This is pathetic. Time to take charge. With a surge of courage, she prepares to face him. She snaps her head up, their eyes lock. 1 second of bravado, and then, she's literally choking on air. Jae-woo is totally unimpressed. You don't have to choke to tell me the soup is bad, he deadpans. She wipes her lips, glaring. I freaked because you were staring. Desperate, she pivots the conversation. Why aren't you eating? Already did. Short and cold. But the real problem is lingering in the air. She narrows her eyes. Why that look? He just blinks. I have no clue what you mean. Liar, you're looking at me weird, she insists. I'm not. Yes, you are. The bickering ignites. He won't budge. She stabs her soup in frustration. How can I eat when you're staring like a predator? It's like you have something to say. He leans back, his face a mask. I've got nothing. Unconvinced, she squints. Is he truly silent, or just playing mind games? Jae-woo watches her spiral. This intense gaze is so out of character. Why now? Meanwhile, her brain is running a marathon. Does he like me? Full conspiracy mode. Activated. Could it be true? Questions flood her racing heart. She sneaks a peek. Still there. Still watching. Her face begins to burn with a dangerous heat. He must be totally obsessed to just watch her eat. Her cheeks turn a deep, betraying crimson. Those words echo again. Daddy is happiest with mommy. Meanwhile, Jae-woo remains unaware of her crisis. So, how's the soup? Silence. He arches an eyebrow as she remains frozen in her own head. She's drowning in a sea of memories. The dream, the touch, every scandalous flash from last night returns. He even bought a brand new bed frame. Jae-woo watches her, completely baffled by her sudden trance. He asks again. He wants to make this for Seoul next time. He just needs her opinion. Nothing. She's completely deaf to his voice. Her mind is spiraling into a romantic abyss. Jae-woo's patience is snapping. This silence is unbearable. Is she really going to ignore him like this? Her thoughts are off the rails. She's convinced he's just a man nervous for her approval. Is he terrified she won't like his cooking? Talk about a wild delusion. She snaps out of it. Your cooking is fine. The soup is great, so stop asking. He lets out a soft sigh of relief. Oh no. Why does he look so cute? Panic. She buries her face in her hands. Get a grip. This is Jae-woo. He's not that guy. He's not the type for sweet romance. While she scolds herself, he silently bridges the gap. Suddenly, his fingers lift her chin. Her body freezes instantly. Your hair is falling in the soup. He says it so calmly. She blinks in shock. Before she can move, he steps behind her. You're like a child, he mutters. Just eat. Then, he begins to tie her hair back. Her heart leaps into her throat. She's so tense she might explode. I'm not an invalid, she stammers. You didn't have to do this. He doesn't even blink, focusing on the perfect knot. He treats it like nothing, but she's struggling to breathe. Why the blush? He asks. Blushing now? After everything we did in bed? He smirks. Last night was indeed wild. Her sanity fractures as his fingers weave through her locks. Priorities crumble instantly. Doubts flood her aching soul. Are they lovers? Or was it a fleeting mistake? He checks for a signal. Ҳрang blinks, escaping the depths of her drowning thoughts. He mentions the child is away. The house feels cold without her small shadow. A hollow ache settles within her. She blurts it out. Are we truly together? Jae-woo freezes. Silence suffocates the room. Her heart hammers no turning back now. Will he crush her heart? The main character squints, failing to grasp her plea. He misreads the atmosphere, mentioning the others. He repeats the story she already knows. Era and Bayal were bound by destiny, minus rings. A messy, unspoken arrangement. She tries to clarify her feelings, but he interrupts. His focus shifts elsewhere. He mutters about legendary proposals and old secrets. When did their forbidden love begin? He treats their past like a grand mystery. Suddenly, Ҳrang is ensnared by riddles. Her own confession vanishes. The lure of the secret past is too addictive. She demands every spicy detail. He shrugs, the timeline blurring like a faded dream. Time means nothing to him. She interrogates him like a detective hunting for truth. Her feelings are buried under new obsession. Jae-woo sighs, the secret is out. No escape remains. He yields to her curiosity. Buckle up, the journey begins. We travel back to school. Baeol and her crew debated the most absurd nonsense. Laughter echoed through the halls, but the carefree peace was about to be shattered. Suddenly, Era appeared. She offered a juice box like a mysterious tribute. The crew went cold. Why was the class freak offering gifts? Suspicion erupted. Whispers erupted instantly. When did Baeol start running with a girl like that? Baeol panicked, nodding to save face. A desperate lie to silence prying eyes. Her lie failed miserably. The news hit the group like a devastating explosion. A reality check was coming. Era? Friends with anyone? The idea was madness. Era was a living contradiction, a silent loner who could scream louder than anyone. She slept 90% of the day. Then, a witness stepped forward. A strange encounter in the restroom? The gossip turned toxic as they leaned in. They demanded the dirty truth. The girl with the curler spilled everything. She described a scene of sickness. Someone was crying, the weirdo standing guard. She blocked the door like a ghost. The conspiracy fueled their dark excitement. Baeol listened in horror. As the pieces clicked, her heart sank. Later, Era found a hidden message. A secret invitation? Or a declaration of war? She read the command, "Meet me at the playground." Curiosity outweighed her boredom. She found Baeol waiting, their eyes locked, tension crackling like lightning. It was a legendary showdown. Era tilted her head, breaking silence with a question. "Did you enjoy the milk?" Baeol sighed. She didn't come here for snacks. She demanded the truth. Did Era really play bodyguard while she was suffering? Without hesitation, she admitted it. Guarding that door was as natural as breathing. Baeol trembled. What was her endgame? She was sure the freak hated her. Then, the bombshell dropped. Era confessed her feelings, laying her raw heart bare. Baeol's mind shattered. The confession hit like a truck, leaving her gasping. Her system crashed. She blinked rapidly, her hands trembling from the impossible truth. "You like girls?" Era shrugged, unfazed. "I never said anything about dating." Era crossed her arms. It seemed she never stood a chance. Did she want friendship? Baeol spirals in total chaos. Instant regret poisons her mind. The memory loops like a curse. Each second brings more agony. She stutters out a fractured apology for the blow and her rage. Era remains a cold fortress, trapping Baeol in her icy gaze. "You weren't wrong," she whispers, shattering Baeol's reality in seconds. "Be mine," she demands casually. Baeol's soul flees in terror. Panic ignites her very blood. She flees the suffocating heat. The tension is thick enough to choke. Our narrator leans in, breathless. The predator closes the distance. Era's game is just beginning. The daily siege begins now, a soy milk peace offering. One mystery becomes a war. Baeol finally snaps at her. Era shrugs, the ultimate mastermind. Her persistence is a weapon. "I researched your needs," she says, cold care for a burning heart. Baeol exhales a heavy, broken sigh, resisting the irresistible pull. She shields her heart desperately, fighting the madness rising within. "It's not happening," she lies, guarding the scars of her past. She fears the public's judgment. Her future is a glass castle. She won't gamble her legacy on this dangerous, toxic spark. She doubts Era's shallow promises, but Era's gaze never wavers. "I'll carry your life forever." Baeol chokes on the conviction. "Responsibility is no joke," she screams, desperate to find an exit. Era tilts her head dangerously. "Are you rejecting your feelings?" The truth is a deafening silence. Era's voice strikes like steel. "You love me, but fear them." Baeol's breath hitches in agony. Era invades her personal space. "Do you truly despise me?" Tension crackles in the silence. "Tell me, and I'll vanish." The lie dies on her lips. She masks fear with defiance. She demands to know the past. Is this just another game? True love feels like a trap, but Era stops the talk. She seals the silence with fire. Their toxic origin story begins. The obsession has officially ignited. Comment part 4 for more. Like and subscribe for drama. Until next time, stay obsessed.